ESPN. I'm Gary Miller. I'm a little excited about things because Jose Canseco has joined the Boston Red Sox. They're underway in Fenway. I got a rousing and including some standing ovation from those on hand in Fenway as they take on the Minnesota Twins. They traded for him December 9th. Canseco, part of a meaty lineup for the Red Sox. And then Aaron Seeley replacing the injured Roger Clemens on the mound. First pitch high to Chuck Knobloch. He would go on to walk him. The replacement umpire behind home plate is Dallas Parks. We'll keep you updated on that game. And our game is coming your way in just about 2.5 minutes. Rangers and the Yankees. We'll get you there, but first we'll wrap up our preseason special. Let's go back to wrap that up now with Carl.
Fans of all ages are back. Wednesday afternoon, sun-drenched afternoon, at the most famous ball yard in the world.
For all of us who have been touched by the game of baseball, either as a player or fan, the past 8 months have been awful tough to swallow.
But today, on the field, we can all start on the road back as the 1995 season begins.
Having to live without baseball all this time has made us all realize how much we truly love the game and how we all have a duty to treat it with respect.
And nothing will be better than giving the fans a kind of great season that will put the memory of the past behind us all.
We waited a long time for opening day, and it's finally here. Now let's get on with baseball. And also, let me tell you something. Let's make sure that we all remember one thing. This is the fans' game. It's not our game. This game belongs to the fans.
Opening day in Yankee Stadium has a nice ring to it, doesn't it? The New York Yankees host the Texas Rangers here on ESPN. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez. Good to see you. I've missed you. And you know what? We've missed you. 8 months. It really seems like a reunion here today at Yankee Stadium, a crowd of about 50,000. But you know what, Buck? As excited as we all are, as the fans, and certainly the players are, about 80-85% back. I think it's going to take a year for baseball to get back full steam. Do you agree with that?
Well, I don't know if it's going to take a full season. I think here in New York, particularly, the fans are really upbeat. They know this is a big season for the Yankees. I think overall, baseball has certainly taken a hit, missing the World Series last year. But I think there's an awful lot of excitement in a lot of different cities.
Well, the New York Yankees, of course, had the best record in the American League last year. They have nothing to show for it. They haven't been in the postseason since '81. They look to be the best team in the American League. If they don't make it to the World Series, will this season be not a waste, but a real disappointment for them?
I think it will be, because they went out and got Fernandez, they went out and got Jack McDowell and John Wetland, and I think everybody believes this is the Yankees' year. Don Mattingly and Wade Boggs don't have too many good seasons left, and they want to do it right now.
Well, this is the team to beat in the American League. The Rangers would have won the American League West, so theoretically, we have two of the defending division champs from last season. We're ready to go. Let's kick it to Gary Miller.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris and Buck. We'll get right back out to you. George Steinbrenner with the detached retina is watching down in Tampa. And here's some of what else is going on in baseball. Things actually got underway last night with one game that happened in Joe Robbie Stadium between the Dodgers and the Marlins. So neither team had to leave Florida. A little over 42,000 on hand. Raul Mondesi, who was a monster in winter ball and has kept it going through the spring, hit 2 home runs in the game. This clothesline gave him 2 on the night. He had 4 RBIs, but here comes the comeback. Marlins down big. Terry Pendleton rallies. He knocked in 3 on the night. That off Todd Worrell made it 8-6, part of a 4-run 9th-inning rally. Charles Johnson at the plate. Rudy Sayens, the young closer, in. And he takes strike 3. Johnson 0 for 5 of the night with 2 strikeouts. Tommy Lasorda and company hold on to a 1-run win on opening night. They'll go at it again this evening with Candiotti against Gardner in Game 2 of that series. Just underway this afternoon, Fenway Park. Windy, sunny day, man at third, bottom of the first, and bottom dropping out on Pedro Munoz. Aaron Seeley, who gets the opening day assignment in place of Roger Clemens, gets out of a jam with Knobloch at third base, and it is scoreless as the Red Sox and Jose Canseco come to bat. We're just beginning our triple-header coverage. Mets and Rockies, it has snowed in Denver, but remember, they have heated coils beneath the field. They're expected to play. And then following that, it's the Astros and the Padres, who had that big offseason trade. They will be going head-to-head. We're about ready to get set at Yankee Stadium. It's Jimmy Key against Kenny Rogers as the new-look Rangers come to town to face Buck Showalter and the heavily favored New York Yankees. We'll get back to Buck and Boomer right after this.
Welcome back to Yankee Stadium, and really, you have to quote the words of Simon and Garfunkel. Where have you gone, Joe DiMaggio? Our nation turns its lonely eyes to you. Just a few moments ago, the Yankee Clipper introduced to a standing ovation. And in his 80th year, still has the arm. I think he just gunned a runner down from the outfield at third base on a one-hopper.
Well, if it's not appropriate to have Joe DiMaggio here, I can't think of anybody better to throw out the first ball. Tremendous ball player, great classy gentleman, and I think it's very appropriate on this opening day here at Yankee Stadium. They bring back Joe D.
You know, you were wondering, okay, it's Yankee Stadium, which of course is the most famous ballpark in the world, the Buck, and you have Robert Merrill just sang the national anthem. That's the 25th year that he's done that, the great opera singer from here in New York. But when they say Joe DiMaggio, okay, we know where we are. If you just landed and you hear Bob Shepard go, number 5, Joe DiMaggio, we're back. It's exciting. That made me excited.
Well, if you need a reminder how important baseball is to the fans, you need to be at Yankee Stadium to watch that, because it was certainly an emotional time when Joe came out of the Yankee dugout and took the field. I tell you, you can sense the fans are really fired up today. They're happy to see the clubs back on the field, and I think they really believe this is the year of the Yankees. They have all the parts in place, and Buck Showalter, who gave a tremendous ovation when he ran out onto the field, believes that this is the year of the Yankees, and they've got a lot of unfinished business to take care of.
I'll tell you what, and you've been with the players at spring training, and I was out here at the workout with the both clubs had yesterday here at Yankee Stadium, and to a man, and I mean emphatically, Buck, the players really discovered a lot about themselves. They discovered a lot about the game that they have played since kids, and the game that now that they play as professionals. And we talked to players from both teams. There is no mistake. They're happier to be back than anybody.
Really would have been strange not to play for an entire year. You know, that's basically the first time in my life that had a chance of me not playing baseball. And I really realized that I'm not ready for that yet.
It means a little bit more in that, you know, getting back to something that we love to do. And, you know, I was real eager to come on back and get out on the field, because, you know, I absolutely love it.
You know, when you get away from it and it's taken away from you and you can't do that anymore, it shows you really how much you love the game.
I think you're going to find that players realize just how much this game means to them. Beside all the other stuff, I miss baseball more than I ever thought I could.
And Wade Boggs and everyone in both dugouts and all the players around the league, I really do believe you will see not only, and there's baseball, that Wade Boggs, Will Clark, Don Maddox, I mean, this is baseball, Buck, but I really do see not only the amount of autographs and things like that they will sign all year, but I think that there is a newfound respect, or regained respect, between the fans, between the players and those who come to watch them play, and between the players and the game that they have played since they were so very young. I think you will see it on the field every game.
I think baseball in general got away from taking care of their relationship with the fans, and it's something now everybody recognizes, hey, we are very lucky to participate in such a great business, and let's make sure that we show our appreciation to the fans and bring them back into the field and say, hey, we're here to give you everything we have, and hopefully no one will ever let this game be disrupted again.
Of course, it still is. We still have no agreement, and you're looking at replacement umpires right there, and a lot of the Major League umpires, Eric Gregg, you'll recognize him. Al Clark, that's Al right there. Terry Tata and Bill Hahn, a few others are outside picketing, and until the umpires are back, baseball will not be back 100%. I just urge Major League Baseball to get a handle on the big picture. Your umpires are very important to the integrity of the game, just as the players are, just as the managers are, just as the folks whose names you don't know, the folks who work in the locker rooms and who work in the ballparks and who put it all together for you. Bill Deegan, if that name looks familiar, he was a longtime American League umpire, and Buck, we're going to see him with the old-fashioned chest protectors. So Randy Harvey, Larry Walding, and Gus Klein will be your umpires today as the Yankees take the field. With the familiar sight of Don Mattingly at first. One other note before we get started. Yesterday at the workout, about 6,000 people attended. Buck, was open to the public. All the stadium workers, whether they be the grounds crew, the ushers, the hot dog folks, they were even looking each other in the eye and said, "How are you?" They never got to say goodbye last summer. It was as if it was a high school reunion.
Well, the last game played here last year, the Yankees played the Blue Jays on August 11th, an afternoon game that went 13 innings, and then the season abruptly ended. Everybody expected it to be a week, 10 days, 3 weeks at the most, but no one expected it to be the end of the season. So you're right. Everybody was saying, "Hey, how was your winter? Good to see you. Nice to be back."
Jerry Narron is the acting manager of the Texas Rangers, as Johnny Oates is with his wife, who is suffering from exhaustion at their home in Virginia. Gloria, we understand she is doing better, and Johnny is doing better, and they hope it'll be a couple weeks. However long it takes, do the right thing, which is Johnny is doing, being with his family. But for now, Jerry Narron will be the manager. Here's the lineup. The mercurial Otis Nixon is the new center fielder. Jeff Fry is at second base. Will Clark is second year with the Rangers at first base. Mickey Tettleton is DH. Gonzalez is out for 2 weeks with back spasms. Ivan Rodriguez, the all-star catcher behind the plate. Dean Palmer hits sixth at third base. Rusty Greer hits seventh in right field. Billy Hatcher, he's been around. He knows what he's doing. He's in left. And the youngster Benji Gill is the shortstop, hitting ninth against Jimmy Sir Francis Scott Key, making his third opening day start for the New York Yankees.
And he's a perfect 5-0 on opening day. This is his third consecutive start for the Yankees opening day. Jimmy Key is the epitome of a great free agent signing. Since signing with the Yankees, he's 35-10. He's coming off shoulder surgery, but he's 100% and has gone 5 innings twice this spring. Defensively, the Yankees in the outfield, O'Neill, Bernie Williams, and Danny Tartabull. Tony Fernandez at shortstop is a key to the inner defense. He's the all-time leader in fielding percentages among shortstops. He should be a perfect fit playing at home on this natural grass field.
There's Tony Fernandez. That's a little different in Yankee pinstripes, but the fans will love him here for fielding excellence. I know the Wizard of Oz has made it an art form, but Tony is right there with him at the position. Speaking of making it an art form, here is Otis Nixon, who knows a little bit about stealing bases once he gets aboard. Swinging at the first pitch, and he is aboard. Hits it down the right field line. Tartabull up with it. One pitch, and Nixon, he of the 394 lifetime stolen bases, is aboard. So who needs Jose Canseco? They got Otis Nixon instead.
Well, they need some speed at the top, and this is a good confrontation right off the bat. Jimmy Key with a good pickoff move. Otis Nixon, 42 of 52 last year for the Boston Red Sox. Texas is going to try to utilize the stolen base a little more this year with Nixon at the top of the lineup.
Well, we now know we will not have an opening day no-hitter. That's blown it for me. Can we leave now? Of course, nobody will go that route either. Let's see if the pitchers go 5 or 6 innings. That'll be about it. Jeff Fry, the second baseman, looks at strike one. Fry last year played 57 games in Texas, 205 at-bats, hit .327. So people may have missed that Jeff Fry and Rusty Greer, who's in right field, were both 300 hitters for this ball club last year. Texas not as much of a passing team, certainly with Canseco gone, and Juan Gonzalez out for about 2.5 weeks with a herniated disc problem. So that back problem has shelved him. So you take Canseco and Gonzalez out, and now all of a sudden the team has a new look. Thank goodness they really weren't after If they got Mickey Tettle from the DH to at least supply some of the lost pop, certainly with Gonzalez out. There's a strike. If you're pitching on Buck, you fought for many years, what kind of strike zone would you expect from not even necessarily Bill Deegan, but from a replacement of a larger, smaller? What would you expect?
I think the only concern you have that the umpire is consistent. Whether it's small strike zone or a big strike zone, you want it to be consistent. Jimmy Key with a great move. Last year he picked off 2 base runners. He only had 12 attempts all year long. Even good base runners like Otis Nixon have a difficult time reading Jimmy Key. He has a tendency to pause at the top of that delivery.
We'll keep an eye on Nixon again. Otis, 9 straight years of at least 36 stolen bases. Of course, he had 72 back with the Braves in '91. The year Atlanta first made it to the World Series. He was such an integral part of that ball club. Spent last year at Fenway Park in Boston. Foul back, and so the count remains at 1-2, right? Now, I don't know how long it's been since Bill Deegan has really called a game. I mean, he certainly, the plate umpire today was he's done World Series. I mean, he was around, Buck, but still, you just have to be wary if you're both a hitter or a pitcher, don't you?
Yeah, you really have to block out that strike zone and just worry about watching the ball. You really can't think too much about whether or not the umpire is going to call it a ball or a strike. You just have to concentrate on the pitch and not really get yourself into those situations.
Let's please hope that this is short-lived as well, that the regular umps get back and in a hurry. Let's have baseball back the way it's supposed to be, everything but 162 games. We'll have a 144-game season. I guess Mondesi's on a 288 home run pace, so that might get some people excited. Top of the first, Yankee Stadium. A little windier than they thought. They were hoping temperatures would get up to about 70. Not going to get there today, but what's the difference opening late April here in New York as opposed to like an April 3rd, April 4th, which can be a little nippy. Fry will plunk it just into the seats. The fans, you see, are out of practice. That they should have made that catch.
Yeah, it was an easy little soft liner into the seats, and they booted it around.
Well, that was easy.
Yeah.
But 8 months,
And didn't give him a day?
Right. The first ball. Yeah, you see, come on. Now, he would have had that in June.
Yeah, well,
he would have made that catch.
Most of these fans haven't had spring training.
No. Waves at that one, and Jeff Fry will strike out. 1 out of the Texas first.
Jimmy Key came off shoulder surgery, but he really got a lot of good throwing in early. And watch the movement and how the hitter is out on that front foot. Great changeup. Mike Stanley, the catcher, is really baffled by Key's command. Look at Nixon. He's got no clue as to where Key's going. Jeff Fry was fooled by that changeup.
Well, just as we said, Don Mattingly and Wade Boggs are baseball. The fella at the plate, Will Clark, about as natural a swing. We call him the natural. Longtime San Francisco Giant, came over here last year to Texas and really started out hitting in the 380 range. Average eventually fell off to 329 at 78 RBIs in his first 83 games with Texas, Buck. Only 2 in the last 27. But, well, like I said, a natural swing. He gets out of bed, you know, hitting them between fielders, doesn't he?
Well, he's pretty pumped up, you know. He is a big baseball fan himself. And he's glad to be back on the field.
Now, Will and I talked for a long time yesterday, as you might have imagined that we would. He's a big hunter and fisherman in the offseason, but he said, you know, enough already. He was going nuts. Just found out a few days ago he and his wife are expecting their first. So this year will really be special to him. Baseball's back. He'll be a family man. Maybe Texas can get in the postseason, something they've never done. Remember, they would have won the AL West, such as it was last year, even though the record was 52-62. And it's 2-1 to Will Clark. Nixon at first. 3-1.
McGee felt that was a strike, and you can see the long stare in at umpire Bill Deegan.
Well, that's really the first that he's missed because of the right. He's given him the pitch outside on the right. but not on the left so far.
Take a look at that pitch. Stanley was set up outside. Key hit his mark and thought it should have been a strike.
Clark hits it to left field. Back goes Paul O'Neill back to the fence. Makes the catch. That ball just kept traveling. But O'Neill, who usually plays right, makes the catch in left field, and there's 2 out. The reason O'Neill is in left and Tartable is in right and not DHing, which is Leyritz today, is Polonia against Kenny Rogers is not a good hitter, so he sits. But I thought the ball all of a sudden might get out of here, Buck.
Look at Will Clark keep his eye on that ball. He thought it might get out of here as well. He thought he got enough of it to drive it over the wall in left field. But O'Neill makes the play a stride short of the wall.
So normally Juan Gonzalez would be the cleanup hitter. And Tettleton will hit 5th for the Rangers, being rebuilt by Doug Melvin. There's Mickey's numbers. You know, he's last year had the 17 homers, had 30 or more each of the 3 years before that with the Tigers. Matter of fact, he has 127 homers the last 5 years, but 95 of them as a lefty. I mean, he's a switch hitter, but he has better power numbers hitting from the left side of the plate.
Well, he's had a good run against Jimmy Key. He's hit 5 home runs against Jimmy Key.
Speaking of a good run, there goes Nixon. Ow! Nixon can't believe it. He thought he had the jump, but Mike Stanley has gunned him down. And a leadoff single by the Rangers goes to waste.
Otis Nixon has had a tough time against Jimmy Key, and you can see that wasn't a great jump. Mike Stanley knows he's well protected by Key's move, makes a strong throw to second base, and Nixon is tagged out.
We've played a half an inning here in the Bronx. The Rangers, nothing. The Yankees coming to bat. Back to Yankee Stadium. Opening day, Yankee Stadium. It just sounds right. There's Buck Showalter, American League Manager of the Year, and in his 4th season as Yankee manager. That's the longest run since Ralph Houk from 67 to 73. That's a long time ago. And there's a man in front of him, Don Mattingly, that hopes to get to the postseason for the first time in his career. Here is the Yankee lineup on opening day. Wade Cranberry Boggs leads it off at third. Jim Frito Leyritz is the designated hitter. Paul O'Neill, the American League batting champ, is in left. Kenny Tartable playing the field, right field, hitting fourth. Don Welcome Mattingly, the Yankees' favorite. Here is hitting 5th at first base. Mike Stanley just gunned out Otis Nixon, hitting 6th. Bernie Williams in center field, hitting 7th. Tony Fernandez, the new shortstop. They're really going to like him here at Yankee Stadium, hitting 8th. And the youngster Pat Kelly hitting 9th at second base against the Gambler, man who authored a perfect game last year, left-hander Kenny Rogers.
Leading off for the Yankees,
Kenny Rogers making his first opening day start.
Wade Boggs.
And is only the 3rd lefty in Texas history to start opening day. John Matlack opened 3 of them in 78, 80, and 81. And Craig Def Lefferts opened 2 years ago in 93. Defense, Buck?
Let's take a look at the outfield. Hatcher, Nixon with great speed in center. Rusty Greer in right. Ricky Benji Gill at shortstop. They're trying to see if he can handle it on an everyday basis, but Nixon is the key. 252 steals. That speed in the outfield will really take the pressure off the corner outfielders.
Well, they're hoping for defense up the middle, certainly with Rodriguez behind the plate and Nixon in center field. If Fry and Gill develop as that young double play combination, then Texas will have a different sort of look. Wade Boggs, man that has won 5 batting titles. Last year, Boggs hit .342. That was his best average since '88 when he hit .366, which was his last batting championship. Wade Boggs, 2,392 hits, so 108 hits shy of the 2,500 mark. And he lifted it pretty well, but Billy Hatcher gloved it in left field. 1 up, 1 down for Kenny Rogers. Boggs and Mattingly at the corner. It's just, when you talk about the Yankees, you key on the mound and Boggs and Mattingly at the corners. Dowell is the 2-starter and Wetland out of the pen. I mean, in this day and age when it's hard to get all the parts, they got a big paragraph at the beginning of why they should win. Another team just have a sentence, don't they?
It's a very, very deep ball club.
Jim Frito Leyritz is the designated hitter, can play a lot of positions, and that's something that's lost on a lot of folks. The Yankees have a lot of guys, Leyritz and Velarde in particular, that are really interchangeable. And when Gallego was here too, you know, people didn't look at the Yankees like they looked at the Oakland A's, where there had a lot of guys that could play a lot of positions. But Buck Showalter manages in a way that's halfway a National League manager, a National League club. You agree, Buck?
Yeah, he uses the entire roster, and everybody on the team feels like they're going to contribute at one point or another. Nobody on this Yankee ball club really needs to carry the team. They've got a lot of balance.
Talk about balance. You're looking at today's batting order, Buck, and 1 through 8. Now remember the shortened season last year. 1 through 8, everybody had at least 50 RBIs. And 9, Kelly had 41. So that is balance. Count is 2-2. Rogers working pretty quickly. Dean Palmer at third. Will Clark at first, and there's 2 out.
Well, if Texas is going to make a run at the American League West, they're going to have improved infield defense. Dean Palmer committed 22 errors last year, but the coaching staff believes that a large part of the reason he made so many errors was he played with an injured hamstring for a lot of the season. He's a very sure-handed youngster that's got tremendously quick reactions, and he is a very steady worker. He's kind of a throwback third baseman over there.
Paul O'Neill had a year that he's telling everyone, there's no way is this going to be my career year. Although 359, I don't care who you are, it's pretty tough to equal that. He won the batting title in the American League and was rewarded with a big 4-year, $19 million contract. Now that will put the pressure on a little bit from upstairs here in New York, as it's been doing.
Well, the thing about O'Neill, he says, hey, there's no reason why he can't go out there every single day and hit the ball hard. That's what I did last year. He didn't slip below 400 until the 17th of June last season. You talk about a balanced attack. They go left to right with very good hitters up and down the lineup. But it was O'Neill's approach to using the whole field that really enabled him to become the hitter he was last year.
Well, the year before, his first in New York, he hit 311. So he's had 2 300 seasons here in pinstripes, way outside. Rodriguez makes the play. Before that in Cincinnati, his best year was 89 when he hit 276 and 90 when the Reds went to the World Series at 270. So the 300 stuff is something that's just come since he's been with the Yankees. Kenny Rogers has really come into his own the last 2 years, really his first 2 years as a starter. Last year, 11-8, we told you the perfect game in 93 was 16-10. And he just rung up the defending American League batting champ, freezing him at the plate. So 1-2-3 inning for Rogers. We've played 1 at Yankee Stadium. Yankees and Rangers, no score.
Yankees are back in action and look to throw some weight around in the early go.
And back and
well, it was only 1 inning, but Kenny Rogers was perfect.
Well, he's 5-1 against the Yankees. Last year on the second day of the season, the Yankees really roughed them up. 3 innings, 8 earned runs, so he's anxious for a little payback here today.
2 pitchers who grew up in the South. Kenny Rogers from Savannah, Jimmy Key from Alabama. Jimmy Key, someone who you knew as he pitches to Mickey Tettleton, who was at the plate when Nixon was gunned down by Mike Stanley. So it'll be Tettleton, Rodriguez, and Dean Palmer that gets stride to the plate in the second inning. But back to Jimmy Key, you were catching with the Blue Jays toward the end of your career when Key came up in the bullpen.
Yeah, he came up in '84 and saved 10 games for the Blue Jays working out of the bullpen, and you could see right then that he was going to be a very good pitcher. He's always been a student of hitters. He really watches for weaknesses and tries to exploit the hitter's weaknesses. He is pretty much in control of his own ball game. He will use his glove and wipe his uniform to get the pitch he wants. He doesn't really shake off a lot of pitches. He just goes to what he wants to throw and lets Stanley know. I'm telling you, that is a wicked changeup. Mickey Tettleton knows Jimmy Key very well, of course. They faced each other a lot when Tettleton was with the Tigers, but when Key throws that changeup that well, you really can't do much about it. Down and away, look at Stanley set up away. Key turns it over, and Tettleton is way out on that front foot.
Second strikeout for Jimmy Key. That'll bring up Ivan Rodriguez. Key is the only pitcher in the major leagues last 10 seasons to win 12 or more games. I know 12 isn't a huge number, but again, that's that consistency that you saw when he was a youngster. He really pulled the string on that one. Missed up top to Pudge Rodriguez, who last year became the first catcher in the American League since Lance Parrish to win both the Gold Glove and the Silver Slugger Award. So Pudge came up as a teenager, came to the major leagues at 19 years of age, got married in a minor league park, had that as scheduled, and came up that night. Made his debut, I believe it was at Comiskey Park, if I remember that correctly. Texas was on the road. He came up at the age of 19. So by the time he gets done, he will grizzled. He's already a grizzled veteran, isn't he?
Gonna have to build a new room for all those Gold Glove trophies. See, look what Key does to hitters right there. He busted Rodriguez in with a fastball. He'll get it up to 87, 88 miles an hour from time to time, but he's not an overpowering pitcher. What he's trying to do is make the hitters think of both sides of the plate. He does it very effectively.
Grounded, and that's inside the bag. It's a fair ball, bounces off the wall. Rodriguez will be into second with a double. So the second hit of the afternoon for Texas off Jimmy Key. Rodriguez with a one-out double.
Well, it's a two-strike curveball. Rodriguez is out in front of it. Look how far off the bag Boggs is. And then that curveball hugs the line, skips over the bag, and goes down the corner. Boggs was not expecting Rodriguez to pull the ball, and because he got that curveball out over the plate a bit, he kept it fair.
So Rodriguez, who is just 23 years of age, born November 1971. It's younger than it's young. It's younger than centerfold. I mean, that's young. Dean Palmer has power. And Jimmy Key, knowing that, keeping it outside, misses, and it's 2-0. Palmer, the third baseman. Last year, 19 home runs, 59 RBIs.
Jimmy Key will exploit those very aggressive young hitters like Palmer. He got into a fastball count, 2 balls and no strikes, and still comes with the changeup. You see how far out in front Palmer was. Key will never give in to hitters. I don't care what the count is. He just won't give in.
Lofted by Palmer to right field. Tartabull over there in the sun makes the catch. Rodriguez tags and moves into third base. So runner on third with 2 outs, and let's shug it on up to Gary Miller. How are you, Gary?
Chris doing well, and so are they in Fenway. Here's Jose Canseco's debut as MCI proof positive takes us there, and Canseco waits on the Scott Erickson off-speed pitch, slams it into center. Canseco couldn't get around. But in the second, after Mark Whitten got aboard, Mike Greenwald brings home another new Red Sox. They're leading 1-0 in the third and rallying again as we go back to Yankee Stadium.
All right, Gary, thank you. And as Rusty Greer steps to the plate, I will say this, Buck. There are a lot of exciting things once this season gets underway that we could see. But Jose Canseco, with his home games, Fenway Park, I know it's only 144 game season. He still could hit 50. The Red Sox record for home runs is 50 by Jimmy Fox.
Yeah, he had 31 last year, so he is completely recovered from his elbow problems.
Wide of first base, foul ball. But Canseco as a Red Sox, I don't know. There's something about the pure home run hitter in a ballpark like that just will make you drool.
He can hook the ball off the plate over that green monster. That's what he can do, and that's why they really jumped at the opportunity to bring him to Boston. His manager last year, Kevin Kennedy, of course, the first-year manager for the Red Sox.
As I will say one thing, is the count is 1-1 to Rusty Greer. And he looks at strike 2. Let me go out on a limb. Canseco will not pitch this year for the Red Sox.
Yeah. And pitching is a concern, of course, with Roger Clemens.
Yeah, but I don't think so.
No, he is not going to get another inning of work.
Some windshields on the mass bike, though, may be in danger. Count is 1-2. Rodriguez at third. Ooh, the big roundhouser missed. And it's 2-2 to Rusty Greer, who hit .314 last year.
He drops down from the side and tries to drop that curveball over.
Same pitch. King is off the mound and will handle it to Mattingly. And the Rangers strand a runner at third. We've played an inning and a half in the ball yard in the Bronx. No score. No score. Bottom of the second inning. The Rangers and the Yankees. Otis Nixon, Buck, one of the few new Rangers in Doug Melvin's new blueprint.
Well, in this economic atmosphere, you have to be creative with your money. They got rid of Canseco in his $5.1 million contract, and because of that, they were able to pick up Nixon at $3.15 and Mickey Tettleton. Then on the pitching side of things, Kevin Brown, $4 million contract. Look at the pitching they got in return. Tewksbury, Gross, McDowell, Jeff Russell, Juan Ortiz is a youngster they got in that deal. I said Juan according to Blues, but that's what they have to do. The so-called small market teams need to just pay a little more attention to what they can get for their bucks.
Danny Tartabull leads off the bottom of the second inning for the Yankees. And holds back off pitch from Kenny Rogers, and the count is 2-0. Tartabull, Don Mattingly, and Mike Stanley. So Mattingly comes up next. You watch and listen to the ovation he'll get. We saw Mr. Yankee, Joe DiMaggio. But in this day and age, Don Mattingly is Mr. Yankee, and I don't care whether you root for the Yankees or not. Every baseball fan wants to see him take a look at postseason action. Tartabull takes a look at this pitch, sends it way back to left center field, back, gone! First American League home run of the 1995 season. Danny Tartabull off the Monument Park over the .399 sign and beyond. And the Yankees lead it 1-0.
Second home run Tartabull has hit against Kenny Rogers, and it's a fastball away from him. Look at Rodriguez. He wants it inside, and they don't get it inside. If you leave it out over the plate to Tartabull, he'll hurt you.
And now Rodriguez will go out and talk to his pitcher to settle him down because Tartabull unsettled him.
Well, Tartabull really has good power in the alleys, but when he can extend and reach for the ball, he can do some damage. Notice Nixon at the .399 mark as that ball goes into Monument Park.
Oh, really? Taking aim at Joe and Babe. And what did he do? What a shot by Tartabull, who homered opening day against Texas and Kevin Brown last year. Although there are only, 7 Rangers from last year's team, so not anybody remembers that. But that's why we're here. Team form. Don Mattingly swings, and the count is 1-2. Mattingly with, what was that number? 6,545 at bats. None of them in the postseason. Nine-time Gold Glover, MVP, batting champion. And he will sit down as Kenny Rogers comes up with his second strikeout of the afternoon.
Well, Kenny Rogers has added a new pitch to the mix. It's a slider. He's made a short, quick breaking ball there. Mattingly appears to get fooled by it, and that might be something to make note of because Mattingly, obviously a very good student of the pitcher and what he might get from that particular pitcher. Looked like he was really fooled by that breaking ball. Rogers has been a fastball, curveball, changeup guy. He's cut the ball occasionally from time to time, but now with Dick Bosman here, he's really worked on it.
Swinging at the first pitch, Mike Stanley. He wants to help you do things right. He's thrown out Otis Nixon, and he hits one to center field, and Stanley is aboard with a one-out single. So a homer and a single here in the second off Kenny Rogers. Stanley, when he got released, It was from the Texas Rangers. And all he has done since then, he got released by Texas after the 91 season. 3 years with the Yankees, 51 home runs. Another guy with new life here.
Well, he got an opportunity to play in a platoon system at Matt Noakes, and then eventually won the everyday duties. And they've got a lot of confidence of him behind the plate. At the plate, he's become a very good hitter. And we talked about this Yankee lineup having so many good run producers up and down the lineup. And here's another one.
Yep, Bernie Williams, who the second half of last season, Buck, really started showing the form that Yankees and their fans hopefully they'll see from him consistently. Second half of the season at 344 to finish up at 289. He's one of the few Yankees that can run a little at 16 stolen bases, but Bernie with 57 RBIs, but again the 344 mark the second half of the season. See up in the upper left-hand corner, something new for us on the baseball. Count, outs, and score. If that adds to your enjoyment this year, as ESPN is back full throttle. Game last night, triple header today, and then Sunday night baseball and Wednesday double headers. So 3 games a week, and this is a bonus week. We have the 3 today. Game at 7:30. Most of you will see the opening of Coors Field. Regular season opening as the Rockies host the Mets, and then the Padres hosting the Astros in our 10:30 start. John and Joe get there. The game last night, they get to open up Coors Field. You know, that used to be our domain, Buck.
Yeah, we did that in Florida.
Marlins. Cleveland. Huh? Aren't you with me?
Randy Johnson?
Yes. What happened to us this year? We got put on the shelf.
I don't know. We almost had a no-hitter. Randy Johnson.
That was a great day. Bernie Williams sends it to right field. This is going to be tricky for Rusty Greer, but not tricky enough. He makes the catch, and Stanley back to first. And why should I just talk about it? Why don't I show it to you? For those that aren't lip readers, here they are. The Mets and the Rockies. First regular season game ever at Coors Field, and boy, that will be fun. That stadium, just like Baltimore's and Cleveland's and Texas, is up a mile high. About the 5th row from the top is exactly 5,280 feet. You're exactly a mile high. And then the Astros and the Padres, who essentially switched franchises except for Bagwell and Quinn last year. That'll be our 2 games this evening on ESPN, and some of you will see regional games. Tony Fernandez in his first at bat as a Yankee. Last year with the Reds. Had a tour of duty in New York that certainly in his career was his worst stop, no doubt about it, with the Mets. Sends this one right back to Rogers, who sends it over to Will Clark, and that will end the second inning. But Danny Tartable's long home run has given the Pinstripers a 1-0 lead. 1-0 Yankees, top of the 3rd, thanks to Danny Tartable's home run. Replacement umpire Bill Deegan, the one-time major leaguer behind the plate, replacement ups all around the league. We asked Jimmy Key what his approach would be on the mound, knowing it was not a regular ump behind the plate.
I'm not going to try to think about it, to be honest, Chris. I'm just going to try to pitch what I can pitch and try to adjust to what he's calling. That's the way I always approach a game. Some umpires give you more than others, and I try to adjust what I throw off of what they're calling. And I think what we've seen most in spring training is inconsistency. They don't really call the same thing all the time.
Well, there's the Billy Hatcher swinging at the first pitch, and this is down the line and up in the stands for a ground rule double. So before we could even discuss what kind of pitch he was going to throw with the replacement up Bill Deegan, Billy Hatcher, starting in left field because of Gonzalez's back problem, just rips one down the line, Buck.
He gets a fastball on the first pitch and pulls it down into the corner, skips off the warning track right into the seats, a ground rule double.
See, again, they're not ready in the stands. You know, and that was a little more juice on it, but still the play should have been made.
Yeah, it had a little top spin on it, I think. One thing to note, that when he really gets a few innings under his belt, he'll have better command of his location. Watching the defense, I think right now he's not getting the balls where he really wants them.
Buck, I mean, keep this shot here from center field for a moment. Not that I'm trying to direct Scott Johnson, but as Benji Gill is the batter. But that the chest protector, I mean, young fan, they don't know what that is, right? What is that?
That's the outside chest protector with the umpire, Bill Deegan. Major League umpires have now gone to the inside chest protector, so you don't see that anymore.
Benji Gill will bunt it, fielded nicely by Key, who will tag Gill out. Hatcher moving over to third in the second.
It's a new look for the Texas Rangers. A sacrifice. They don't generally bunt too often. They play the long ball. The shortstop Benji Gill moves the runner along, trying to cash in that leadoff double by Billy Hatcher. Jerry Nairn, the interim manager with Johnny Oates home with his family, elects to go sacrifice and turn the opportunity over to the top of the lineup in Otis Nixon.
Otis Nixon up for the second time today, led off the game with a single down the right field line. Key working him outside. Hatcher back to third. A note on Billy Hatcher. You know, he had that fabulous 1990 World Series where he was 7 for 7 in the two games 1 and 2 with Cincinnati beat Oakland. In Cincinnati, was 9 for 12 in the series, setting all sorts of World Series marks. Nixon fouls it off, so that'll be 1-1. Yeah, this is a good point, Buck. New look Rangers, and certainly without Gonzalez in the lineup now, they have to manufacture runs. But that might help them be an overall headier ball club, if at all, if they're a manufacturing type run team, and that goes hand in hand with good defense.
Yeah, we mentioned the fact there are only 7 returnees from last year's opening day lineup.
Nixon bunts it. Here comes Hatcher. And Nixon stops dead in the tracks, and Key finally tags him out, and that's exactly what had to be done. Hatcher is home, and we're tied at 1. So, 2 good fundamental plays, 2 good bunts, double, bunt, and they've tied the game.
Johnny Oates comes over from the Orioles, and we all know what kind of fundamental team the Orioles have been throughout their history, so they take advantage. You see Billy Hatcher camped at third base. Otis Nixon squares around the bunt and pushes it by Jimmy Key. Key hustling over, cuts off the path of the ball, and then stops Otis Nixon. But on the play, Billy Hatcher comes across to score, and we got a tie ball game. 15 bunt base hits last year for Nixon. He's a master with that bat in his hand when he chokes up, so he cashes in the RBI.
That'll bring up Jeff Fry. Jimmy really took something that one off that pitch for the youngster. Fry with 327 last year. Take Otis Nixon long to pick up an RBI. He only had 25 last year with the Red Sox. Skied. Pat Kelly, the second baseman, makes the call and the catch. The Rangers have tied it. So we move to the bottom of the third here at Yankee Stadium with the score 1-1. Stick around, please. Hi, everybody. Bottom of the third at Yankee Stadium, and yes, that is Jack McDowell. A different sight. Jack McDowell in Yankee pinstripes, and they let him keep the downplayed Fu Manchu look. It's not the full-blown that he always exhibited with the White Sox, but he's kind of altered their facial hair rule a little bit. His wife had never seen him without the Fu Manchu, and shaved his face. She said, "Grow it back, you look tough."
Doug Showalter, when he was questioned about the tradition of the Yankees, he said, you know, I'm not concerned about that facial hair thing. He said, one tradition I'm concerned about is winning, and we're going to continue to do that.
Well, that's a tradition that they haven't experienced here. Remember, they have not been in the postseason since 1981. Lost that year the World Series to the Los Angeles Dodgers in that strike year. And it has not happened since. Of course, he has been in the postseason, Jimmy Key.
That's interesting that Jimmy Key would be sitting next to John Wetland. Wetland is a student of hitters, and I'm sure he's picking Key's brain right now, thinking about the possibility of working later on in this ball game. So you go to the man who you regard as the best student of the other team's hitting, and Wetland is sitting right there talking the Rangers lineup with Jimmy Key.
Now the count is 3-1 to Pat Kelly. So you've seen Jack McDowell rip past Palmer. It looked like it glanced off the bottom of his glove. And Pat Kelly, the number 9 hitter, is aboard with the Yankees' third hit of the afternoon.
There are no soft spots in this 9-man lineup. Everybody has confidence. They've led the American League in hitting the last 2 years. Number 9 hitter Pat Kelly rips it through the left side of the infield. Dean Palmer can't flag it down.
Kind of short-armed it a little, didn't he, Buck?
Looked like he might not have picked it up off the bat real well.
So Kelly is aboard, and we go to the top of the lineup with Wade Cranberry Boggs. His 3rd year as a Yankee. Won a Gold Glove last year. First one in his career. Well, that meant a lot to him. Greg Paul.
Well, as much time as he dedicates to hitting, he dedicates just as much time to fielding. He takes about 100 ground balls a day and is always out there trying to prepare himself for the game defensively.
Of course, hitting is what the Chicken Man is known for. Lifetime average of .335. 7 straight 200-hit seasons. American League record. Last year, when he hit .342 at 35 multi-hit games. Off speed by Rogers. So worked him outside, he worked him inside, Buck, and he's dropped in 2 strikes.
Well, one thing, when you get ahead of Wade Boggs, you're really not out of the woods. He is a very good 2-strike hitter, probably the best in the league. He changes his sights somewhat, always thinking about the opposite field, but with 2 strikes, he really has the opportunity to sit back. Being a base runner ahead of Wade Boggs is really a treat because he takes so many pitches and gives you all those opportunities to get a good jump.
Boggs laid off it. Rogers missed outside. The count is 1-2. Chris Berman and Buck Martinez with you. Opening day at Yankee Stadium. 1-1 game in the bottom of the 3rd inning. Tartable's long home run to left center field. The Yankees run. Double by Hatcher. Pair of sacrifices. The RBI going to Nixon at the top of the 3rd, and that's where we stand. Key and Rogers each have given up 3 hits. And now you know the rest of the story.
You see, Boggs has worked the count to even at 2-2 after falling behind. Such a good eye and so much confidence. He takes a lot of close pitches.
What are you thinking about?
Fouls that one off the upper deck, and that will bound down. Now, that was a little tougher for the fans, but again, I'm seeing that the fans have just not worked at this in the offseason. Nor, by the way, should they. By the way. Here's a panoramic view of Yankee Stadium. They were hoping to get close to 50 at game time. I didn't think so, Buck, and Boggs fouls that one back. They may get it. They may get 45, 46. The record here in the new stadium is 56 plus. Of course, the old stadium held in the 60s, 63, 64,000. Before they reconfigured it in the mid-70s.
It took a while for the crowd to get here because they had to wait until about 11:30 so they could all say, hey, I'm going to lunch.
Right. Well, they also, traffic coming into Yankee Stadium when you're going to get a crowd of close to 50,000 is not exactly an easy place to get. You come down the Major Deegan, which means we should call the home plate umpire Bill Major Deegan. Boggs has worked the full count. I will say this. I mean, it's not in the greatest location to get to. It's difficult to get to. Some people have said, although they've worked very hard, have the Yankees and the New York City Police Department to make it a nice and a better atmosphere outside the park. But once you get inside Yankee Stadium, there are very few places like this. Even if you've never been here and you've watched it, seen it on TV, or seen pictures as a kid, you knew what this place looked like growing up. There goes Kelly, and Boggs will foul it away. I was fortunate. I grew up about an hour from here in suburban Connecticut, and my dad took me here many times to the old stadium, where you really were, like, for our young fans, like Baltimore and Cleveland, you're right behind. When you said you're in the 3rd row behind first base, you really, when the catcher went by to back up the play, you could pat him on the shoulder. It was 463.
It's a big ballpark.
Center field. 457. Was where the 399 sign was. I mean, that was, the monuments were out in center field. And you could hit one off the top of the monuments and be in play.
And the outfield fences were very low, about 3 feet high and left and right. bullpens were out in the open.
3-2 pitch to Boggs. We keep an eye on Kelly still. It was the fences were about 4 feet, and in right field I saw Frank Robinson with the Orioles, Al Kaline, the Tigers routinely go in to make plays. 3 rows into the stands making catches. Here goes the runner Kelly again. Boggs will loft this. Will it get out of play? Hatcher will run it down. But he's not going to run out. He's going to run out of real estate. Well, we got tripleheader baseball today, and tomorrow night we're back at you with hockey as hockey steamrolls toward the end of the regular season, which is the middle of next week. The Dallas Stars and the Chicago Blackhawks. That's at 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central. Bernie Nichols leads the Blackhawks. They've been struggling in Chelios. Can they get it back together to get their skates on straight? Rolling into the playoffs. There goes Kelly. There goes Boggs. And boy, he waited it out perfectly and hits one through the left side. So let's remember, this all began with an 0-2 count to Wade Boggs.
That's why he's got so many batting titles in his trophy room. He just wears out a pitcher. Pitcher makes a good pitch, Boggs fouls it off. Make another good pitch, he fouls it off until the pitcher makes a mistake and leaves it out to where Boggs can get to it. He was behind 0-2 to start off this at-bat. Looked like an easy at-bat for Kenny Rogers, and Boggs make it very difficult. A 2-out base hit to left, that's a familiar phrase when you tied Wade Boggs to it.
So now 2 on, none out. In a 1-1 game, and Jim Leyritz is up. Leyritz grounded to third in the bottom of the first inning, and Rogers works him inside and misses. Rogers, who had a 1-2-3 first inning, giving up a home run in the second inning to Tartabull, and now a pair of singles to start the third with Kelly and Boggs. Stanley also has a single. The Yankees with 4 hits, the Rangers with 3. Outside low, 2-0.
Kenny Rogers needs a ground ball right here. This part of the lineup, you've got an awful lot of power coming at you. Jerry Nairn, the top step, keeping an eye on Kenny Rogers. I'd love to get a sinker ball flowing away and get a ground ball. Of course, we talked about the infield defense last year. The Rangers infield made more errors than any infield in the American League. I hope to improve upon that, of course.
2-0 pitch, lays to center field. Otis Nixon over with a good jump on the ball. And because it was laced, Pat Kelly, it was not a tag-up situation. So Kelly back to second and Boggs back to first. That was hit well. And not that there was the most incredible play you've ever seen in center field, but yet the veteran center fielder Otis Nixon knew exactly where he had to get as soon as the ball hit the bat, Buck.
He was shaded in left center, but got a good jump off the bat. Quickly over to his left and makes the catch of the line drive. You know, when the pitching staff recognizes how much ground Otis Nixon can cover, they'll be a little bit quicker to throw the ball over the plate and put it in play. They've got a very solid outfield defense now.
So there's a big out for Kenny Rogers. Now he'll face the defending American League batting champion Paul O'Neill, who he struck out in the first inning. O'Neill from Columbus, Ohio. Beat Albert Bell by 2 points last year. 359 to Bell's 357 to Frank Thomas's 353. Lofton 349. Boggs 342. That was your top 5 last year. So the Yankees with numbers 1 and 5. Now there's 2-0 to O'Neill with Tartabull on deck. 50 pitches thus far for Kenny Rogers. Is there a formula today, Buck, for each of the starters?
I don't know that there's a regular number that they have set before the game. They'll just kind of go on Rogers and how he feels. They'll keep a close eye on him, of course. Count is 3-0 now, so with 2 men on and 1 out,
Here's Willie Randolph, the third base coach, and what a nice ovation he got. He's a Yankee, Willie Randolph. They love him here. What a class player. Next to Mattingly and, of course, DiMaggio, the ovation for Randolph was about as loud as anyone else. And they introduced all the players on opening day so nicely. All the coaches, even Gene Monahan, the trainer, all the players, reserves from every team. Both teams. Strike call. O'Neill taking all the way on a 3-0 pitch. Randolph coaching at third. Brian Butterfield is the coach at first. There's the interim manager of the Texas Rangers, Gary Marin. He's normally the third base coach for Johnny Oates. Marin has an interesting history here at Yankee Stadium. Ooh, O'Neill thought it was ball 4, but Roger plunked it in on the outside corner.
Now he's checking with Bill Deegan, the home plate umpire. This is that new slider that Kenny Rogers has developed this spring. Dick Bosman added this pitch to Kenny Rogers' mix, and he makes a very good pitch to the outside corner in a fastball count. Bill Deegan's call was questioned by O'Neill, but umpires around the American League will tell you that's not that unusual. O'Neill is always asking the umpires if they were sure about a pitch.
Rogers trying to pick Kelly at second base, almost threw it to center field. Benji Gill, the young shortstop, was going to stop at second and put the tag. They I better keep running and catch this thing.
They're trying to get themselves out of a jam. It's a timing pickoff play, and you can see the throw is on the first base side of the bag. Gill does a good job to flag it down.
That was a good lead if it was a double play throw, right? 3-2 pitch. Down low, and the bases are full for Danny Tartabull, who homered in the second inning. Here's what he did in the second inning against a 3-0 fastball. Goodbye, about 4:15 or 4:20 off the Monument Park.
A little conference on the mound.
While they talk, we're going to check out some scores, and John got his Jaha's out, hitting a grand slam for the Brewhaws as they lead the White Sox. And we showed you with Gary Miller in our studio the RBI single by Mike Greenwell. The Reds underway at Riverfront against the Cubs. And we're underway here in New York. Everybody else getting underway later on today or this evening. And, of course, baseball tonight all day, all night. Marianne will be here for you right throughout the regular season.
Well, Jerry Narron sent the pitching coach Dick Bosman out to talk about this at bat. Danny Tartabull, as we mentioned, homered his first time up. He had a grand slam last year. The Yankees hit 5 as a team. They'll want to try to crowd him here. You got to try to keep the ball in. He hit .359 against left-handers last year. They've got to crowd him.
That was a fastball up high. It missed, and Tartabull laid off. It's 1-0. Kelly, the runner at third base. Wade Boggs, the runner at second base. Paul O'Neill, the runner at first base. 1-1 game, but the Yankees thinking big inning. Speed, he put the outside corner, 1-1.
Rodriguez looked back to Rogers as if he was crossed up. I'm surprised he doesn't go out there and talk about it. He really reacted late to that ball. He was moving inside as if he were expecting a fastball. Looks like Rogers threw a changeup to the outside corner. I'm surprised he got a glove on it.
Well, he fooled both the batter and the catcher. 1-1 the count. That was the inside fastball, misses 2-1 up top.
Now's the situation. As you look at the Grand Slam leaders, he's got 10 career Grand Slams behind a couple of real thumpers. Eddie Murray and Dave Winfield, both Indians.
Doesn't that sound funny still? Winfield and Murray Indians. That count is 3-1, so Rogers now in real trouble with Mattingly on deck.
Well, this is where Mattingly really poses a problem, having batting behind. Yep.
Right. Second straight walk, and this one brings in a run. Yankees lead it 2-1. So Tartabull with an RBI on a home run and now an RBI and a bases-loaded walk.
And the Yankees, although they have a lot of power, they're first in the league last year in walks. They're a patient team. And Tartabull takes the bases-loaded walk. He's driven in both runs today.
Speaking of grand slams, in case you forgot, and it's a long time ago, 1987, the Major League record for most grand slams in a season is 6. It's all by that man right there, Don Welcome Mattingly. Trying to provide a little baseball for you. Rodriguez on a kind of a puffball pitch. Walks it. Now, would this be a big moment here? Mattingly either slam or a big...
this is what you would call a big moment, yes. Good job by Rodriguez as he smothered that curveball in the dirt.
Outside again, it's 2-0, and already action in the bullpen. John Detmer. John Detmer to Society. I don't know what the work. I'm not really ready with these yet. One of the ones that we've used in the past. And it's 2-0 to Mattingly. 1 run in, 2-1. Yankees bottom of the third. Oh, this could be 2, although it's hit slow. Gill to Fry. Safe at first base, and another run in. Boggs scores 3-1 New York.
Well, Mattingly picks up the RBI. It was a slowly hit ball toward the shortstop Gill. Looked like he was out in front of it, got it off the end of the bat. Beats it in the ground. Gill does a good job of getting the lead runner. Circles it, tosses to Fry at second for the force out. Fry chances the throw, but Mattingly hustles down the line. That's a good sign for the Rangers as they keep the double play in order. Actually, excuse me, that was the second out of the inning.
So now runners on the corners for the Yankees. O'Neill at third, and Mattingly at first, and Mike Stanley singled in his first time up in the bottom of the second inning. Now this is interesting. His second baseman, no, he just came in to talk with Rogers because it looked like Fry went in and set up in a totally different position, almost directly behind second base. Stood there for like 15 seconds and then went back. So obviously they were just having a conversation long distance. Count is 2-0, and boy, isn't it good when you take a look. It's one of those rare times when you look up and boy, his batting average is 1,000. It's just a nice feeling, isn't it? I mean, it's just it just looks funny up there. I looked up and what do you mean 1,000? It just, not that one, the one to the right. There's our score, 3-1 to Yanks. With 2 runs in here in the bottom of the third. 1,000. You dream of hitting 1,000.
Means you get up to a great start. Now, if it were a week or so into the season, that'd be a big deal.
I'll tell you what's a bad number, and a number you'll see on opening day. We did a game, was it you and I last year? Paul Spoljaric came in like the second game of the season for Toronto. Faced 3 guys, didn't get anybody out left. ERA infinity. That's not good. They don't have a graphic built for that. They couldn't put it up there. Take an 8 and squash it over. Count is 2-1, 2 down, 2 runs in here, bottom of the third. Mike Stanley, 3rd year with the Yankees. to begin his 4th season since he was released by Texas. Came to 3-1 there. So Rogers really has lost his feel, has he not, Buck?
Well, he's working just the 4th time this spring. All the starters only got 3 starts in spring training, 3 outings. Normally, starters will get as many as 7 starts during the regular spring training. So he's struggling with his command a bit.
Ripped off the glove of Gill. He can't find it. Now he does it. Throws ridiculously to second base. Fry with the runner already there. O'Neill scores, and it's 4-1.
Now, Benji Gill committed 37 errors in AAA last year, and Johnny Oates had a talk with him, said, hey, I just want you to catch the routine balls. Don't worry about being flashy. Just make the routine plays, and this would have saved a run for him had he come up with this sharply hit ball. Looked like it was hit right at his left side, hit at his feet. He gloved it, but then he couldn't find it. Once he gets it, it's too late to get the force out at second.
You know, why make that throw? Why do that?
Inexperience. 22 years old.
You know, and that was a shot, as was the one by Kelly off of Palmer's glove, but yet great fielding team maybe makes one of those 2 plays. I'm not getting on either one of the guys for not coming up with those balls, but yet a way to go yet on infield defense protection.
That's right.
Right here.
That's an area that they're going to need to improve on. And what you look for is an opportunity to get a pitcher out of a tough situation. Comes up with that play, and you save the pitcher a run.
Bernie Williams, the 8th man up for the Yankees this inning, swings and misses. The count is 1-1. Wade Boggs. Great at bat, fouling off 5 pitches at 0-2, and waiting out 3 balls and finally get a base hit. Ended up coming around to score. With Kelly there, you guys that started the rally, which has resulted in a 3 spot for Buck Showalter. Hard to believe that Val Houck in '73 was the last manager that has a long run here in New York. Starting his 4th consecutive season. But really, if you think about the volatile nature of the managerial job in New York, it's not that hard to believe.
Well, there was no reason to keep anybody longer than that because the club wasn't winning. Showalter's winning now, and he's got everything going his way. So he says, you know, I like the pressures, and it makes you concentrate. It makes you prepare. Nobody's questioning his work ethic. Showalter has spent times where he stayed over in the locker room. Just didn't go home. Night game, day game the next day. He said, I'll just stay here and get ready for tomorrow's game.
Rogers misses at 3-2. Another note on Showalter. He will be, by virtue of the Yankees having the best record in the American League last year at .619 percentage, he will manage the American League in the All-Star game to be held in Texas against Felipe Alou because the Expos had the best record in all of baseball. These are 2 guys that started managing against each other in the Florida League, Single A League in '87. So some mutual respect. That'll be a nice story when All-Star game comes around. Showalter named no one new, and Felipe Alou had a really nice major league career, but each earning it from the bottom rungs of management. That will be in the All-Star. It was 2-2 to Bernie Williams with Fernandez on deck. 3 runs in, 2 runners still on for New York. Hit 2 walks for New York here in the 3rd. Punches him out on a fastball inside. He froze Bernie Williams and strands 2 to Kenny Rogers, but not until the Yankees hang a 3 spot and grab a 4-1 lead after 3. To Yankee Stadium in the Bronx. The Yankees lead the Rangers 4-1, and hey, that's us. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez. It just feels very natural to be out here, doesn't it?
Boy, it's a great day. Opening day in New York, and the Yankees are up on top. Danny Tartabull with a home run. Jimmy Key's on the mound. It looks as though nothing has changed.
Well, here's nothing has changed in this man's swing. Will Clark, I'm glad you could join us here for the first of our triple dip today on ESPN. Will Clark flew out to left field his first time up. It looks like it'll be all for Kenny Rogers, at least by the way he packed up his gear and went into the clubhouse after the inning. He threw 44 pitches that last half inning, total of 73. And Buck, I mean, you told me something that I wouldn't have heard. They were toying with the idea that the first 10 days of the season, that a pitcher only had to go 3. In other words, the starter, a lot of the starters won't go 5, but they've gone back to the regular rules?
Yes, I think they have. They were toying with the idea, and I think consensus was that there was no reason to put another mark on a season that's already been cut short. So pitchers going to have to go 5 innings. And there were several pitchers that did go 5 innings at the end of spring training, Jimmy Key being one. He stayed back in an extended spring training situation, pitched 5 innings his last time out. So it is 5 innings for a win.
Count is 2-2 to Clark as Texas is looking at a 3-run deficit here in the top of the 4th. Will skies it. Mattingly makes the play right on the foul line. There's 1 out. That's always making the play for us, Gary Miller.
Chris, MCI Proof Positive takes us to Fenway Park. Scott Erickson against the hit dog. Mo Vaughn sky high. And that is going to fall in for a base hit to score their new leadoff man, Luis Alicea, who had such an outstanding spring. Frankie Rodriguez now in for Seeley. They've given up 1 hit, lead 2-0.
Thanks, Gary. It's like they're still in Fort Myers. The Twins and the Red Sox, and they play each other about 18 times, just at the 2 teams in Fort Myers. As Mickey Tettleton looks at strike 1. Now we shall see. A lot of folks say they won't go to a game this year, or they'll. I think what you'll see is a lot of folks that may go 7 or 8 to 10 times, maybe go about 4 or 5 times, except that their team gets in the pennant race. But I don't think anybody knows, Buck, how they're going to react. We all say, well, at baseball they've turned me off, or they're going to have to do something to get me back, or. Now that the season's here and you go to the park, I don't think anybody knows really how they're going to react.
No, I don't think so until you open up the morning paper and read the box scores like we've all done throughout our whole life. Get into a habit of having a cup of coffee in the morning and checking the box scores and see how the home team did, and that's when the people really get back into the feeling of baseball with that. Now that's a great picture.
Yep.
Glove in hand, sitting there waiting for a foul ball.
Cap looked ready too. The cap.
That's what you used to do, right? Couple rows back there, sitting on the edge.
I brought my gloves to the game. I certainly did. I caught one behind first base at the old stadium. I still remember the details. It was a Yankee Red Sox game. As Tettleton sends one to center field. Bernie Williams makes the play, and there's 2 out. Immediately after the game today, we'll go out to San Diego for the Defenders Series live. Mighty Mary against Stars and Stripes. It's a key race. Stars and Stripes and Young America with 5 points, Mighty Mary with 4 points. As we are getting toward the nitty-gritty time, who will be the American representative? Well, there are a couple of representatives of America. Joe DiMaggio and Reggie Jackson. A pair of Hall of Famers. Great. Joe looks 80 years old. And there they see. Joe had what, 3... So there's about 900 homers in that picture right there. Very good inning as Bud Rodriguez skies it to Tartabull and right. A 1-2-3 inning for Jimmy Key. 4-1 New York. We're back at Yankee Stadium. 4-1 Yankees, bottom of the 4th. We just saw an ad for the Deuce, and we should tell you that America's Cup race we were talking about, we were all fired up. Will be on ESPN 2. So hopefully you will join the Deuce this afternoon. The new pitcher here in the bottom of the 4th inning is John. Another day older and deeper in Detmer. Yeah, a little long, from 16 tons, but John, the youngster from Illinois, just reached his 25th birthday, was 0-6 in 11 games last year at Texas. So suffice it to say that he's looking to do a little better this year, Buck, than he did last year.
Well, last year the starting pitching rotation was in a shambles. They used 12 different starters, and Detmer was one of those pitchers. He started 9 games for the Rangers last year, so he's looking to improve upon that, of course. This is an area of concern for the Texas Rangers. Their relief corps. They've got a pretty solid starting staff right now, but they need some performances from some guys down in that bullpen.
Well, they feel that if Jeff Russell, who of course was, and I'm sure Jeff would admit it too, it was horrible last year with Boston and Cleveland, although he had some good save numbers. The year before, he was excellent with Boston. Remember, he's the all-time save leader of the Texas Rangers. Made the All-Star team from them a couple of times. So they get Russell is the closer now. They get Roger McDowell, who again struggled a lot last year with LA, but he could be pretty good. They have Matt Whiteside, who every time I see him looks good. As this is ripped by Tony Fernandez with into center field. So his first base hit is a New York Yankee. They got Whiteside, who's up and down. They got Oliver, the lefty. I mean, they got some guys who could fill the role, but not really in the 4th inning. These are not the guys you want out there in the 4th and 5th inning.
Well, during the regular season, during the course of the season, the starters will pitch much better. They have got a very solid starting staff, and as soon as Kenny Rogers gets himself into pitching shape, he'll be pitching later on in the ball game. Last year, he averaged 7 innings per start. This is a good hit-and-run matchup here with Fernandez at first and Pat Kelly at the plate. Fernandez gives him some speed down at the bottom of the lineup. Pat Kelly, a very good handler of the bat. He can put the ball in play on the right side. They can play first to third here and turn the lineup over.
Well, Kelly singled to start the last inning. The 3rd inning began the Yankees' 3-run outburst, which eventually got rid of Kenny Rogers. Pitched way up top by Detmer, and it's now 2-0. And I know the Yankees are thinking about their bullpen pitcher, Charlie Wanzowitz.
Yeah, Charlie Wanzowitz was hit by a line drive during batting practice in spring training. He's in the hospital, Holy Cross Hospital in Fort Lauderdale, and all the Yankees want to send their best to Charlie Wanz and offer a get well soon, Charlie.
A hit and run and able to hold to be large on the left side, and perfect play by Kelly. You just said he knows what to do with the bat. And because Fernandez was running, Gill had to go over and cover second base. The grounder went right through where his cleats once were.
Now, Tony Fernandez adds a dimension of speed to this ball club. Lead off single. They put the hit and run on and executed very well by Pat Kelly. Normally, you think about going to the right side. They got a pitch on the inside part of the plate. The shortstop Gill was covering, and he pulled it through the left side of the infield. Look at Fernandez at first base, reading Detmer, gets a decent jump, checks the swing of Kelly, sees the ball go through the left side, and then right in front of Billy Hatcher, Fernandez moves over to third.
So now the top of the order to Wade Boggs, who singled and scored his last time up. Wade is 1 for 2. Because of the odd opening day being Wednesday, this is a shotgun kind of ball game here. I mean, this is a one-shot deal. The Yankees here for 1 game, then they'll fly to Kansas City tomorrow, work out, and open up a weekend series on the road against the Royals. For Texas, they're here for 1 game. They'll go home and then open up their season Friday night, off day tomorrow against the Cleveland Indians. So a 1-game homestand. Actually, they play tomorrow as well against Cleveland, so a 4-game homestand against Cleveland, and more with Seattle. Well, the Yankees come back after that 3-game road trip and host their arch rival, the Red Sox. So some early travel, but really except for that day and the day after the All-Star game, for some teams, the schedule isn't that drastically different. For others, there are a lot of teams that have a lot of 1-game series back and forth. There will be some quirks this season, no doubt.
Well, the Yankees want to go to Kansas City on the off day and work out on that new surface in Hoffman Stadium. They've taken out the artificial turf, and they have a natural grass field there.
You see that the longtime groundskeeper, George Tillman, going to throw out the first pitch.
Very appropriate.
Boggs rips it to right field, but Greer is there, and he boots it. He boots it. Fernandez scores. Kelly to second. 5-1 Yankees. And again, the ball was ripped, but we're seeing that the Rangers have some work to do with the glove.
Obviously, a sharply hit ball. Boggs hits it on the button. It may have been a knuckleball out there from right field. Greer has a bead on it. You can see he should have made the play. No question about that. I'm sure he'll be charged with an error there. But Boggs will get a sacrifice and an RBI on the play.
Jerry Narron already to the mound to talk with his relief pitcher, John Detmer. So they huddle up, and action very quickly in the bullpen. Here is what the Texas Rangers staff, Buck, will look like this year. Their starters going into the season. These are, of course, last year's numbers. Rogers and Pavlik with the Rangers. Kevin Gross will be the day 2 starter. That's his numbers with L.A. last year. Tewksbury, obviously, with St. Louis, and Helling here with Texas. Potentially not bad.
Now, potentially, it's pretty good, considering that there are a lot of guys in there that can give you innings. Kenny Rogers, Kevin Gross, Bob Tewksbury have all pitched over 200 innings in a season. Kevin Gross coming over here as a free agent from the Dodgers, but they're probably most excited about Roger Pavlik, the way he has thrown this spring after battling arm problems last year and eventual surgery.
Well, the Rangers came in having their starters not giving up a run in their last 19 innings in spring. Of course, that ended today when they played for Rio. And Jim Leyritz holds off the first pitch but takes it for a strike. Here are the games. The Brewers now way in front of the White Sox 6-1. The Royals underway, so they had the moment throw out the ball today. The Red Sox 3-0 lead at home. The Cubs leading at Cincinnati. Of course, it's 5-1. The Yankees here. Leyritz reaching at that one, goes to center field. I tell you, reached and went a long way as Otis Nixon makes the play, throws it into second. With Kelly moving up to third base, he wanted to make sure the base runner stayed at first, which is Wade Boggs. Good wood to it. The ball traveled well, Buck, considering it looked like it was cool.
Well, there is a bit of a breeze here, and it's blowing out toward left center. Leyritz with his 17 home runs last year, always working. It was like he pulled off that ball and didn't really stay with it, or else he may have driven out his first home run.
Well, that'll do it for John Detmer. And Terry Burrows will come in. Roster's expanded for a while, and they're all expanded on the pitching staff, so a lot of guys like maybe Burrows, who would normally start in AAA, will be pitching in Yankee Stadium. Ed Bronick. Yeah, welcome back to Yankee Stadium, where fans of all ages, look at this cigar, hat a little askew, and pick up that left hand there, sir. He's got a baseball glove in that, Buck.
Yeah,
he got the jacket and the gar and the
there it
cap
is.
And he's got the glove.
Dusted off the old glove and brought it out to the stadium today. Got a scorebook too. He's keeping score.
The old Red Ralph model glove, isn't it? I think. Scorebook, front row. I mean, now look, we're not putting this up there to make us look smart, as if we just did this during the break. Yesterday, we talked about the Rangers, Buck, and went over their strengths and weaknesses and suspect, and I think everyone has come into play thus far.
Well, we know they can score some runs, and they eventually will when they get Gonzalez back. Defense, although they've just committed the one error, they had a couple of plays where they could have bailed out the pitchers a bit. Suspect, rookie shortstop. Edgy Gill had that play where he could have gotten out of the inning. The bullpen, John Detmer comes in here and gave up a couple of base hits to start the inning.
Here's a couple of lists you don't want to be on. Worst in AL. Loud runs, errors, blown saves. Wow, this is Paul O'Neill pitching against Terry Burrows. Now, that is not the most valuable player in the American League for the Texas Rangers 21 years ago, who was Jeff Burrows. This is Terry Burrows. You see his numbers with AAA Oklahoma City last year. O'Neill off the side. Count is 1-1. Yankees won in the second on Tartable's long home run. 3 in the third, and a walk to Tartable, a fielder's choice to Mattingly, a single by Stanley. And run here in the fourth, a sacrifice fly by Boggs, although he eventually reached because Greer also dropped the ball. Runner to kill. Fry. Clark. Double play. So good job by Burroughs, and there's some good fielding by that young double play combination. The Yankees come up with 1. We've played 4. 5-1 New York.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We're back at Yankee Stadium. The Yankees leading at 5-1 over the Texas Rangers here in the top of the 5th. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez, and we've watched Jimmy Key give up a single on the first pitch of the game to Otis Nixon, but he hadn't allowed more than a runner in any of the innings. He pitched 55 pitches through the first 4. Now he faces Dean Palmer, Rusty Greer, and Billy Hatcher. Off speed, does not drop it in. And we all do. A man who, Howard Cosell, in our business, there was never anybody like him before or after him. Spoke up about social issues, whether you agreed with him or not. But no one else would dare do in this profession. Ripped by Dean Palmer, but foul. Wouldn't have flurried was Howard to rip anyone. If that's what he thought. But I will say this also. His halftime highlights on Monday Night Football. Now that's just a broadcasting score. That's not a, okay, you took a stand socially or this or that. His halftime highlights on Monday Night Football remain classic. And all of us who earn our living in this profession owe him a good debt of pretty good debt, because he opened up a lot of doors and opened up a lot of things to people in this business of doing what he was.
He certainly did a lot to change the image of sports on television. And before the game today, there was a moment of silence on Howard Cosell and the victims of the bombing in Oklahoma City.
One other note on Howard. Very private funeral yesterday. Our condolences to his family and Greg Cosell, who works, his nephew works at NFL Films, and he was at ESPN. We send our condolences to him. But one of those that show was Rachel Robinson, the wife of the late Jackie Robinson. There you go. 5-1. The Yankees lead Texas here in the top of the 5th. Count is 3-2 to Dean Palmer, the leadoff batter. Jimmy Key doing all sorts of histrionics on that. What was that?
That was the changeup that he really exaggerated the follow-through on, and it took him toward the first base foul line. A 3-2 changeup, and watch his follow-through. Really exaggerating the follow-through, and then the 360 off the mound. He's added a little touch to his delivery there.
Yeah, he has. Pat Kelly going out. Bernie Williams coming in. Makes the play, and there's one out here in the Texas 5th. Let's quickly go to Gary Miller.
MCI proof positive takes us to Fenway. Carl Willis against Jose Canseco with the bases loaded. He rips a shot, his second hit of the game. This is going to bring home Tinsley. Alicea scores for the second time. It's 5-0. Vaughn has just knocked in 2 more. Red Sox lead 7-0. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Gary, I tell you what, they are, not only do I think Canseco's going to have a great year in there, they're going to love him. I mean, a guy that they used to love to boo. Oh, he's going to be a mega Boston star. You know how they love their big-time athletes up there.
Remember when they got on him when he was playing right field for Oakland? All the fans in right field down there at Fenway were getting on him.
He was always good-natured with them, though. He never reacted the wrong way to it. He had fun with them. Yep. As the guy you saw earlier, Reggie, used to have fun in right field at Fenway, too. You know, they will love Jose up there this year. I think that's marriage made. It's perfect. 2-0 pitch is ripped by Rusty Greer to right field and drops in for the first base hit for the Rangers since Hatcher led off the third with a double. He had returned 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in a row until that base hit.
Rusty Greer led all rookies last year with a .314 batting average, and he very quietly established himself as the everyday right fielder. I think Gonzalez back in left field. They'll have a pretty good outfield with Nixon in center. Jimmy Key never allows the hitters to take too many good swings against him because he's always changing speeds. He'll give you a slow curve, then he'll give you a quick fastball or the changeup outside. You never see too many hitters take real good cuts off Jimmy Key. He's always messing with their timing. Inside, that's a pretty good pitch. He wanted that fastball. He thought he'd made a pretty good pitch to the inside corner. 68 pitches. He has really thrown a lot. Given his surgery last October, he's got himself into great shape. And a changeup.
You know, in talking with Jimmy, Buck, he would have, being the gamer that he is, tried to go through the season and pitch. No one really knows whether he would have made it through the entire season with the way his shoulder was feeling. So the 8 months, not a blessing to him, but not a bad timetable as it worked out for him because it allowed him to fully recover from his shoulder problem. He only won 17 games. No, he's not himself sure what he had made.
No, that's right. He was much more dominant in 93 when he was 18-6. He really was in command on the mound. Last year, he just used his savvy to get through with the 17 wins.
Ground ball by Hatcher. Fernandez. Oh, it just, whoa, and it went out of the hands of Pat Kelly. But the runner is out at second base. Greer, see the way Fernandez gets rid of the ball. I love watching him play shortstop.
So does Pat Kelly. He loves the way Fernandez delivers the ball to him on potential double plays. Watch Tony go to his right, plant that foot, and then the sidearm flip, but it's right there. Look at a perfect strike at second. Kelly was in a bit of a rush and really didn't find the handle, but they get the lead runner in the force out. The leading fielding shortstop of all time.
Well, you go along with Don Mattingly, was the highest fielding percentage of any American League first baseman. Bonds won a Gold Glove at third. That's pretty good infield.
And with the pitching staff that likes to throw a lot of strikes and put the ball in play, they're going to be called upon a lot.
Count is 0-1 to Benji Gill. Calls for time. Again, replacement umpires today. Bill Deegan, who used to work in the American League, wearing his old chest protector. Umpires, regular umps, picketing outside the stadium. Sarek Gregg, Terry Tata, Hahn, Al Clark, some others. Fellas, we hope to see you back really soon. Hope baseball gets their head out of the sand, even if it's just to take a breath of fresh air. Figure this out and then go back into their bunker. Don Fear, by the way, was at the game beforehand, so obviously the fans gave him a mixed reaction. Well, not mixed, I mean, you know what reaction it was. We are in the Bronx after all. And he says he hopes to have conversations next week with management side. Hopes to. It implied that it was 100% set. That's his timetable.
They need to get back and get a negotiated deal and put all of this concern about the labor strife behind them for about 6 or 7 years. Yep. Should be a long-term deal, so we don't have to go through this.
21st century, we'll address it again. Off-speed pitch, and he handcuffs Benji Gill. So for Jimmy Key, his third strikeout, his first one since the second inning. Strands a runner. And we move into the bottom of the fifth with the Yankees leading it 5-1. Back in the bottom of the fifth inning, Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez. So glad you could be with us here. The first of our triple dip on ESPN. And Danny Tartable's pretty happy to be out here today. Long home run, about 430 feet in the Monument area for the first American League home run of the year. Time it gave the Yankees a 1-0 lead. Tartable later walked, so he's still perfect on the young season, which has now moved 4.5 innings deep for the Yankees. Rips this foul wide of first base coach Willie Randolph. I mentioned earlier, it's also a familiar sight in pinstripes.
He looks like he could still play.
Oh, God, yes. Huh? No question about it.
Great shape. You know, you think back to the middle 70s when Willie Randolph started here. 76, part of that American League pennant winning team. Bucky Dent, shortstop. He is coach with the Rangers now. A great time that was with the Yankees, and now they got 3 straight.
You were here with the Royals in that famous series in '76, which culminated with Chambliss' home run.
Another bad pitch, I think. First pitch of the bottom of the 9th inning in that game in '76. Bird? No, it was Mark McGill.
Mark McGill.
Yes.
I can see now I'm rusty. I should know that without a doubt. Of course it was Mark McGill.
Heidi Herzog was the manager. Reggie Jackson came the next year in '77 and led the Yankees. They've had some great players here. You know, you talk about the Yankees and their ability to bring star players here. That hasn't really necessarily meant championships. Talking about not being in the World Series since 1981.
Well, for a younger generation, as Tartabull draws a inning opening base on ball from Terry Burroughs, third Texas pitcher. I mean, younger generation would have been the Yankees. I mean, yeah, we know who they are, but I mean, to us, our generation, what do you mean the Yankees haven't been in the postseason for 14 years? That sounds impossible. And there's the guy that they built this ball yard around, huh? Born 100 years ago. His picture is on the cover of the program that the fans bought on the way to the stadium today. George Herman Root. The house that Root built. Don Mattingly and company are hoping to take into October baseball once again. Chain pulled by Terry Burroughs on that pitch. Way to describe it, isn't it?
Yeah, that was a curveball that he took something off and got Mattingly out on that front foot. Always talk about disrupting the timing of the hitter, keeping them from gauging the speed pitch after pitch.
Again off speed. Mattingly will sit down. So Mattingly has been struck out twice today. One by Rogers, now by Burroughs.
Another slow curveball. Watch how he gets that weight out on that front foot. He's way out ahead, even though he's trying to stay back with 2 strikes. The swing gets Mattingly out in front.
That'll bring up Mike Stanley, who is 2 for 2 with 2 singles. Five to 1, the Yankees lead the Texas Rangers here in the bottom of the 5th inning. 1 in the 2nd, 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th. Ground ball to Dean Palmer, over to Fry, to Clark, and Burroughs has come in and gotten a pair of double play balls to end both the 4th and the 5th inning. So the Yankees, for the first time since the 1st, sit down without plating a run. We played 5-1 New York. We are back at Yankee Stadium in the top of the 6th inning. The Yankees behind Jimmy Key, leading the Rangers 5-1. And Key, who's made his living in this sport for over a decade, we asked him, what do you think the fan reaction would be early on this year?
It's going to be interesting to see. I expect a little bit of both, cheering and booing, and you know. But I think down the road, once we get this first month or so out and start playing baseball, and the pennant races start, and the heat of the summer comes, I think hopefully it'll all be forgotten, and we can get on with life.
I don't think there'll be too much booing of Jimmy Key today.
No.
He has been outstanding, working into the 6th inning, allowing just 4 hits and a single run. That was his 77th pitch of the ball game. That's a pretty high number given the fact that he is coming off shoulder surgery. But Buck Showalter is pretty much listening to Jimmy Key. He's done that since Key came here as far as how he feels, when he should come out of a game. And Key is pretty upfront about it.
Second time in the game that Nixon has swung at the first pitch from him. First one was the first pitch of the ball game. He singled to right. That one he was curled around in the corner. Pitch misses at 1-1. Back to Jimmy Key for a moment, and I know it's a moment you will remember. Certainly a moment that Jimmy Key will never forget. As Nixon fouls it off. He was one of the old-time Blue Jays. And when the Blue Jays made the World Series in '92 and ended up defeating the Atlanta Braves in that memorable series, the scene up there in Toronto was just a great scene. And he started Game 4, and a lot of folks, it wasn't sure that he was not going to be back with Toronto, but it looked like that might be it. As Nixon hits one into center field and gets aboard. He walked out of the 8th inning. I guess it was Wardo that came in, and then Henke. It was a standing ovation. It was as if everyone in Toronto was saying thank you for a decade worth of pitching for us. You're one of our old guys. I think it went Key, Ward, Henke that night. It was an old-time Blue Jay win, and he's talked about that since. That's something he'll never forget, I'm sure.
Very emotional time for him. You could really read it in his eyes as they welled up as he walked off the field. And he tipped his hat to the fans as if to say thank you very much, and I'll see you somewhere else.
Well, he hopes he sees them in the playoffs this year, with maybe 2 teams from the AL East could make it. Remember, we never played that through last year, so if you've been living in a cave, 4 teams per league in the playoffs, 3 division winners, and a wild card. Otis Nixon at first base. None out. Jeff Fry is up. The count is 0-1. Ooh, and Fry squeezes it inside the bag. It bounced around. They're calling for fan interference down there. Otis Nixon out of third base. That's going to be the ground rule double, I presume. They found it around, and the fan actually got a hand there. We can't really see where we are, but so very quickly the Rangers with a couple of base runners here in the 6th inning, of runners at second and third with none out.
Fry kept that ball just inside the bag at first base, and he ends up at second. And the Rangers got something going here with Will Clark and nobody out. Clark is 0 for 2 today against Jimmy Key, but last year he was 4 for 7 the first time he had a chance to face Jimmy Key. He's the type of guy that hits the ball from foul line to foul line and generally stays back. He doesn't get too full happy, so he has had some success against Key.
Ripped to center field, and this should play to pair. Nixon scores easily. Here comes the throw from Williams. Cut off by Mattingly. 2 runs are in. The Rangers have cut it to 5-3. So Nixon, Fry, and Clark all with base hits off Jimmy Key. And that was your classic Will Clark swing, was it not, Buck?
Silky smooth. I tell you, he stays back, gets a good look at the Key pitch. Watch the concentration. Keeps his head down, eyes focused on the ball. Takes it right back up the middle, cashes in 2 runs. First hit of the game for Will Clark and 3 hits in a row, and that's probably going to be the end for Jimmy Key.
Well, you would think so. Well, we don't know. We'll see. But Buck Showalter going to the mound. And with Bob Sticky Wickman warming up in the bullpen for the Yankees. He's doing exactly what you said, though. How much do you think you got left? Well, I don't know, Skip. Are you sure? Well, I don't know. The signal has gone out to Bob Wickman. And Jimmy Key will leave after 5 innings plus.
Well, they got a great bullpen, and Jimmy Key is in line for his 6th opening day W here as he gets a round of applause from the Yankee fans.
Key is off. Wickman is in. We'll be back to Yankee Stadium in a moment.
MCI proof positive takes us to the newly grassed Kauffman Field. Kevin Appier against Cal Ripken with a full count. Where was that pitch? Cal is called out by replacement up Jeff Hendricks. That was low. That was Cal Ripken. Appier hasn't given up a hit. Back to you, Chris.
I think Cal thought it was low, Chris.
You know what? What a surprise. Cal Ripken started today for the Orioles.
Yeah. Probably play whole game, you think?
Yeah, we'll probably play a lot of them this year. Here's Jimmy Key's line, and of course with Clark on first, the run column we'll have to see about. 5 innings plus, 7 hits, 3 of them here in the 6th inning. 3 runs, no walks, 3 strikeouts. And as you mentioned, having a chance to up his opening day record, both with Toronto and the Yankees combined to 6-0. But very quickly, game was 5-1. Now it's 5-3. Mickey Tettleton represents the tying run at the plate. He turns around, being the switch hitter, to face that lefty against the right-handed Relief pitcher Bob Wickman, who's done it both as a starter and a reliever here for Buck Showalter.
And he's very effective in these situations.
Here's what's on 54 hits allowed in 70 innings pitched last year. That's a heck of a number.
He's got that great sinker ball, and he added a four-seam fastball to his mix last year, and it really gave him another look, particularly against these left-handers. He can run that ball in on the hands of the left-handed hitters. Sinker ball.
Well, there it is. Kelly, Fernandez, Mattingly, and very quickly Wickman comes in. His sinker ball, and Clark and Tettleton are erased.
You bring Wickman in to get the ground ball, and then you turn it over to the sure hands of Kelly and Fernandez. Quick work of Mickey Tettleton. Good movement on that sinking fastball. Look at the toss from Kelly. Fernandez dances out of the way and makes a strong throw to Mattingly. Easy double play, and all of a sudden the Rangers are one out from getting out of this inning.
So Tettleton 0 for 3. They'll bring up Pudge Rodriguez, who doubled off Key in the second inning, flew out to right in the fourth inning. Pudge last season, close to a 300 season.
And last fastball, 91 miles an hour with movement.
Rodriguez lofts one to right. Tartable is there, so after 3 hits, make Jimmy Key yanked by Buck Showalter. Bob Wickman comes in, faces 2 batters, gets 3 outs. Called economics. We'll be back. We're back at Yankee Stadium. Chris Berman, Buck Martinez, and Buck Showalter as Showalter's Yankees lead the Rangers 5-3 here in the bottom of the 6th. And just as you kind of got the Rangers scouting report together, here's the Yankees, and again we've already seen it in just the first game.
Well, a rotation. Jimmy Key with a very strong outing, first outing of the year. The bullpen, Bob Wickman comes in, faces 2 batters, gets 3 outs. The offense, Danny Tartable with a home run. The defense, Fernandez at short, working with Pat Kelly to turn to double play. The bench and the manager. Weakness, speed, but we'll overlook that. This club is for real. They've got all of the elements in place. John Wetland, who we may see later on in this ball game, along with newcomer Jack McDowell and Tony Fernandez. And this was a very good club last year. You know, you think about the possibility of complacency. It's not going to happen with Don Mattingly on this ball club. No. He is not going to allow anybody to think that they can just toss their gloves onto the field and win this championship and go to the World Series. Guys like Boggs, Mattingly, Key are going to set the tone and push this ball club all year long.
Oh, as will McDowell very quickly. He's the same sort of guy. Bernie Williams decided to dance away from it. 7-8-9 now up in the bottom of the 6th against Terry Burrows. Bernie Williams, Tony Fernandez, and Pat Kelly. And you see now, like you mentioned, the bullpen, Wickman and Howe and then Wetland, which we may see exactly the way it's supposed to play out. Bernie Williams plays this one back to left. Back it goes. Back, gone! Striding Bernie Williams, the second Yankee home run of the afternoon. And New York has regained a 3-run lead, 6-3.
Well, this is Bernie Williams' ball club, the Texas Rangers. He hit 5 home runs and drove in 14 last year against Texas. He jumps on a pitch out over the plate. Much better hitter from the right side, and he delivers a solo home run here to start the 6th inning. Take a look at this swing. 366 average from the right side last year. That ball was out away from him. He really turns that top hand over and hits it into the seats in left field.
Tony Fernandez now up. The Yankees get a leadoff homer in the 2nd from Tartable. A leadoff homer here in the 6th from Bernie Williams. Outfielders hitting a pair of leadoff home runs. So we've seen power, we've seen some scrappy ball. This one will fly over Rusty Greer's head and bound off the wall. Fernandez into second base, takes the turn, and with the throw coming in, will hold at second. So back-to-back extra base hits here by the Yankees, answering Texas's 2 spot at the top of the 6th.
Well, Fernandez, a switch hitter, much like same as Bernie Williams, has got a lot of pop from the right side. He drove that ball up the alley in right center. We've talked about it all game long. The balance in this lineup is incredible.
Well, there's Tartabull and Bernie Williams, the home run gang for the Yankees. Tony Fernandez, nice Yankee debut for him. 2 hits, gonna bomb double plays. And now he's aboard for Pat Kelly, who bunts beautifully down the right field side. He could get aboard. He does get aboard. Some indecision between Clark and Burrows. And Kelly with the good wheels. It was apparent to Will Clark right away that we're not going to get him.
Well, Burrows saw Kelly shorten up and thought he was going to bunt it toward third base, so he took his initial step toward third. Watch his reaction. Kelly shortens up the bunt. Burrows breaks toward third. Kelly pushes it down the first base line. Clark's the only one that can make a play on it. He says no chance at all. Once the pitcher went the wrong way, they didn't have a shot at it.
So runners on the corners for Wade Boggs. Boggs is 1 for 2 and an RBI. Fernandez at third. Kelly at first. Kelly's been aboard all 3 times with 3 singles. Terry Burrows from McNeese State. Grew up in Lake Charles, Louisiana. Last couple of years in the AAA Oklahoma City. Fry to Gill to Clark, and they turn the 2 as Fernandez scores. So no RBI in the double play, but Boggs' ground ball gets 2 outs, but Fernandez scores, and now that's a 7-3 lead. Again, opening the unveiling, regular season unveiling of Coors Field. Beautiful stadium out of downtown Denver, as the Rockies, in a game to be seen in Colorado, by the way, here on ESPN, among most everywhere else. They'll host the Mets. Some of you will see Oakland at Toronto. And then at 10:30 Eastern, 7:30 on the Hotel California swing, the Astros and the Padres from the Murph, the home of the AFC champion San Diego Chargers.
And promising season for the Padres.
Yeah, well, you know, it's interesting, and not that USA Today's the only paper, but you saw like 5 people make picks of all the divisions. Every team in that division has a chance to win the NL West, honestly. There's a base knock by Jim Leyritz. So after the double play ball, the Yankees get going again with their 4th hit of the inning. But some have picked the Giants, some have picked the Dodgers, some have picked the Padres, some have picked the Rockies.
Yeah, that division's really up in the air. The Padres, of course, all those acquisitions when they had that 11-player deal with the Houston Astros. He's got a pretty good pitching staff.
Yes.
Andy Bennis goes to them.
There's a shot by O'Neill up the middle, and Leyritz will round second on the slow roller and head to third. So runners at the corners again for the Yankees. But they see Texas get it too, and they turn on their own jets. I'm just going to say both Western divisions are wide open. Although this is not the kind of wide open that Jerry Narron and the Texas Rangers brain trust had in mind. Burrows had looked good as their 3rd pitcher, but now is getting cuffed around quite a bit here in the 6th. And Narron makes the slow walk out. And probably make the call to Matt Whiteside, who's warming up in the Texas bullpen. There's Whiteside, who throws hard. At times can look very good. At times cannot. We'll be back here with a pitching change at Yankee Stadium. Shirts off and jackets in a moment. Bucks family here. This is a great look. I mean, the jacket, the tie. It's hard to match those checks and stripes.
That's the best seat I could get for my uncle.
Boy, that uncle said he really likes it out here. Well, the fans are having a good time. And isn't that what baseball is all about? I mean, just have a good time. Root for whatever team you want. Root for the home team. Have a hot dog. Be a cut-up. Matt Whiteside is the 4th Texas pitcher. Control off at times last year, but they've had some hopes for him. He just hasn't quite lived up to it yet.
Just needs to be a little more consistent. Got a good fastball. He has made some adjustments with his slider under the guidance of Dick Bosman, the first-year pitching coach here. So this is the guy they need to pitch very effectively in the middle.
Yes, they do. Runners at the corners. There are 2 outs, and Danny Tartabull, who homered in the 2nd inning, is up. Tartabull is still perfect on the day, has homered and walked twice. Mattingly is now the only Yankee starter without a hit, as the Yankees have posted 12 base hits to the Rangers 7. The Yankees lead it 7-3. A broken batter that Fry handles and steps on second to force out O'Neill, and Whiteside comes in and does the job. We played 6 in the Bronx. 7-3. And we are back at Yankee Stadium as 7th inning stretch time. If you're a Rangers fan, and of course there are many New York Rangers fans here, but Texas Rangers fans, not that many on opening day. Chris Berman along with Buck Martinez, and so glad you could be with us here on ESPN as baseball is back. Admittedly several weeks late, but here we are. We've seen power from the Yankees. We've seen some good defense. We've seen some opportunistic hitting.
Yeah,
we've seen there are some.
They've got the whole package. They've got balance in their lineup. Tony Fernandez in his debut with the Yankees with 2 hits, including a double last time up. Jimmy Key with 5-inning performance, and then he turned it over to the bullpen. Bob Whitman came on. Got 3 outs as he faced 2 batters. Got a good double play to get out of a tough situation.
So Dean Palmer will lead it off. And he's plunked. Hit by pitch. Trying to shake it off and trot down to first base.
This is that 4-seam fastball that Whitman will throw from time to time, and looked like it caught him on the left hand. Trailed in on him.
So the trainer out to take a look. Palmer have a hit there a year or 2 ago. Breaks up.
Like it might have pinched the fatty part of his hand. Looks like it catches some of the nod of the bat.
Oh, we have our, now we're not going to show it to you either. We have our first fan on the field who just took a headfirst dive into second base. And now will be wrestled off by security. Let's quickly go to studio with Gary Miller.
Chris, MCI proof positive takes us to Riverfront, the traditional opener. The Reds and the Cubs bases loaded. Jose Rio on a spot, and Steve Buechele makes him pay. Singles in a run. They've added another run and a bases loaded walk and a sac fly. Cubs up 4-0 in the 6th.
Gary, we're back at Yankee Stadium, 7-3. The Yankees leading it in the 7th inning as Dean Palmer is aboard to lead off, and Rusty Greer is now up. And joining us, a man who we've seen on camera a few times, and certainly Yankee Stadium in the modern era. This was in many ways your house. Reggie Jackson is with us, Buck, and Reggie, good to see you. Happy opening day to you.
Many ways, maybe my house, but I was just with a guy that put things in perspective for me.
Yes. I thought so.
We saw Joe D, yeah.
Lee remembers when the configurations were slightly different.
Oh, my goodness. 457 feet to left center when Joe D played here.
What does opening day mean to you? I mean, do you think, did you have a special feeling just coming in the park today, Reg?
Yes, I did. Not as much when I played, though, Chris and Buck. You know, that feeling of butterflies, of excitement, of getting your spikes in the grass, and just seeing the huge crowd certainly made a difference from spring training.
Ball hit out to the outfield gap, cut off nicely by Paul O'Neill, but the Rangers had something going with Palmer up to third, and Rusty Greer is in with a double. So the Rangers, as they did in the 6th inning when they played it a couple to get back close, Yankees then scored 2 in the bottom of the 6th to regain their 4-run lead. But here's the pitch, Buck, and Rusty Greer is his second hit of the afternoon.
Well, you can see that sinking fastball stayed over the heart of the plate, and he goes the opposite way and drives it up the alley in left center. Good job by O'Neill to cut it off and keep it from going all the way to the wall. Greer has a double, and once again, the Yankees start out the inning with 2 base hits.
See a pinch hitter against the right-handed reliever Wickman will be Mark McLemore, who really is a good pickup for the Rangers. Had some nice years with the Orioles and does a nice job right here. Hits it into right field. 1 run is in. Here comes a throw from Tartabull. It's up the line and 2 runs are in. So the scrappy Rangers have cut it to 2. It's now a 7-5 game. So as they did in the 6th inning when they started with 3 base hits, they have 3 base runners to start the 7th inning and to hold the phone here. I mean, it's early on, and I think that even though Key looked good, pitching is not going to be what you expect when usually it comes north when it's the hitters that struggle. I mean, you agree with that, Reg?
I would agree with that, and I'm sure you do, Buck. You take Billy Connors going in the mound right now, but the pitchers are the guys that have really had the short time. You get to the point this time in spring training when pitchers would be going 6, 7 innings. They have those 6, 7 starts, but they have not had that much time. So the pitching is going to be somewhat thin, not quite ready. That's why they've allowed the extra 3 pitchers, 2 to 3 pitchers on each pitching staff.
Well, Reggie, you know, as a hitter, you can take extra BP and get a lot of work in a particular day, but pitchers can't throw twice a day. They've got to have their rest in between.
Exactly. They have to have the time, so the short time is going to affect them the most.
Reggie, will there be a lot of pressure here with the Yankees this season now with all the buildup, expecting them to get it? You know about this in this park, and you know where the pressure comes from, not only the fans.
Can I say that's a question that you already know the answer to?
Well, can it compare to the pressure that you all felt in the late 70s during that time?
I think it's very similar. The pressure will fall on that man right there. Manager of the year last year, 70 and 43. But it doesn't matter now. We have put together a better ball club. Jack McDowell is here. We have probably, or at least one of the best short men in the game, picking up John Wetland, and we have a very experienced shortstop now. So we're 3 players better. Our payroll is even that much bigger. So the demand to win and win now is absolutely upon us. We have an owner that demands winning, and we have a city that demands winning. So there is certainly pressure that comes with playing in New York. And when you go to sign a player, Chris, you know, John, Buck, when you're here in New York, he has to have special character and personality to be able to deal with the city. McDowell has it. We believe Fernandez has it. We believe he has something to prove because he did not have good years with the Mets. And we believe Wetland also has the kind of character that'll work here.
Well, we believe you had it.
That could be a little crazy.
A little slow roller by Gill is played over to first base by Wickman, but McLemore will move up to second base, so very important because Rangers just 2 runs down now. Have a runner at second base with 1 out in the top of the order. Otis Nixon coming up. Reggie, I'm not asking you to take sides. I mean, you played for many, many years. You're with the Yankees now, so theoretically, I'm looking at Reggie Jackson. I don't see management written all over your face, but yet this 8-month hiatus, how do you feel? Were you sick to your stomach a little? Were you sad for the game that you'd loved? How were you during this 8 months? How do you sum up?
I was sad for the game, sad for the fans, sad for players, and sad for ownership. I mean, you take a hard look at it, Chris, and although I am management now, the owners had got themselves in a situation where there was no structure in the game salary-wise. Then it got to the point where the television money went away, and it was like, uh-oh, what have we done? They needed to roll back the clock. Players did not want to give up something that they have worked for so long. Why should we have a salary cap? No one ever went into anyone's office with a gun to their head and forced someone to sign. Now the owners had to unwind all of that, and it got to be nasty and ugly. Whose fault? Both sides' fault.
Pitch gets past Stanley, and that will allow McLemore to go to third. So all of a sudden, Wickman came in and closed down the 6th inning for Jimmy Key, but in the 7th inning is another story, Buck.
Well, you see the ball goes off the glove of Mike Stanley there. Good movement on that sinker ball, and that's always a concern. That ball is darting all over the place. Now that'll send McLemore over to third base with just 1 out.
That one will be foul as Stanley jumps on it. Reg, in this day and age, not all the teams have the same resources. Obviously, the Yankees have great financial resources, but isn't there a danger that you're going to have about 14 or 16 contenders every year, and then the other 10 or 12 teams could be like what I've called the Washington Generals, the basketball team that played the Harlem Globetrotters? I mean, that they're just there. Isn't that a big danger? I know that's not facing the Yankees, but they're in it with you. I mean, they're partners.
I think it's a very serious danger. I think you can already see signs of that. You can take a look at ball clubs that have not contended for such a long time. The team that jumps out in your mind, of course, is Milwaukee. Seattle jumps out in your mind. Then on the other hand, you take a look at Minnesota. You take a look at
the Rangers scoring a run here as Otis Nixon grounds to second base, and now it's a 7-6 game.
You take a look at Montreal, and you see that those ball clubs do not have large payrolls, yet they contended exceptionally well. You take a look at what happened in San Diego, where it looked like a junkyard sale, if you will, several years ago. But now they're picked by some people to win their division. So while it's the haves seemingly have it all, and you'd like to spread it around, you'd like to make it like football, where they do share a lot of the revenue, but you turn around and you see that some, good execution from the administrative people can make it happen as well, and you can put a good team on the field and not spend the money.
It might take a little bit more effort and a little bit more work to investigate people, but I look back to the early days prior to free agency when the Yankees were the team, when they were dominant year in and year out. They had all the money, and I think there was a worse scenario back then when everybody else was really chasing the Yankees.
I agree with that, Buck. I would say that what happened to Montreal in the spring this year, when they got rid of Wetland, Hill, Marquise Grissom, as well as Larry Walker, that was the first time I really felt that there needed to be a change. You don't really know who the owners are there. They're not out front promoting their name, so to speak. Lou is a great guy, so I did feel bad when that happened and felt a change or an adjustment needed to be made.
Jeff Fry grounds out. Play is made by Mattingly and Reggie Jackson. Always a play. It's opening day. It's Yankee Stadium. It's Reggie Jackson. It's Joe DiMaggio. We feel at home here. Thanks for joining.
For some reason, seeing you seems to make it official.
You've just made my year. We'll be back at Yankee Stadium. A nice visit, Buck, with Reggie Jackson. But then again, sitting next to Joe DiMaggio, he knew.
Yes, he did. Reggie's a huge fan of baseball and always has been. It's kind of ironic, huh? Reggie sitting here in Yankee Stadium eating Cracker Jacks?
Eating Cracker Jacks. It was no Reggie Bars, it's Cracker Jacks. Attendance of 50,245. What did we say in the open? Pick about 50,000. That's what they've got. Good job here by the fans in New York. And you see those bleacher seats out there. Reggie just informed us that from May 1st to May 7th, that homestand, all those seats will be given away free. And if someone had bought tickets to the bleachers already to go to the game, they can just go to the booth and exchange, get their money back. And first come, first serve for the bleacher seats for the first week of May at all the Yankee games here. Mark McLemore, not that shaky in left field. He actually did a good job at the plate. And here's Mattingly lofting it to McLemore, who has a long run, but McLemore, who went into pinch hit for Billy Hatcher, delivered the two-run single, stays in there, and makes the play. One of the many changes that you heard Reggie and all of us talk about, Jack McDowell here in Yankee pinstripes. Let me take a look at this. Wait a minute. NY. Am I seeing the right guy here?
It's a little different, isn't it? Still got, a little different tin in the pinstripes, and yeah, it is strange. It's a good feeling, though. It's really, to have a fresh start is always a real nice feeling.
There was some concern about how he might react to not pitching opening day. And when Showalter addressed the Key situation, he said, hey, I'm just happy to be part of this great team. And Jimmy Key said, listen, if it's going to bother Jack McDowell, I'll start game 2. And they all worked it out. There is a lot of chemistry on this ball club. A lot of real professional baseball players that have one goal in mind. That's to win a World Series.
Well, Jack McDowell is not coming in here to rattle any cages. That is not his style. Wait till the Yankee fans get a load of the way he plays. I mean, he's an old-timer. Really had some tough things. He was not pitching well the first half of the year, although he says he pitched better than the record would show. He bulldogged his way back. He won the Cy Young a couple years ago. Was one of the point men for the development of the young Chicago White Sox team, and said, you know, it's kind of funny that I made the playoffs in '93, and now I'm not really there. As they're trying to take more steps. He really was the point man, along with Frank Thomas, who came up in '90, and some of the others on that staff. Rusty Greer backpedals in the sun and makes the catch on the fly ball by Mike Stanley. This is the way the Yankees stack up on the mound, Buck, their rotation.
Anytime you can pencil in number 1, number 2, and the names are Key and McDowell, you're in pretty good shape. A lot of people believe that Melito Perez, the number 3 starter, holds the key for a real dominant rotation. Put together a decent year last year, and they'd like him to take the next step and move up into the class of a Key and McDowell. Scott Kamenecki, Sterling Hitchcock round out the rotation. There's Melito. He'll go on game 3. And mentioned one thing, that the attitude in that Yankee clubhouse is that, hey, we haven't won a thing yet. We took the next step last year. We were leading the division and felt real good about the way things were working out, but we've got to go out there and play a whole season and put it together and win, become a championship team.
Well, they led the division by 6.5 games when the strike occurred. .619 winning percentage. Next best record in the American League was .593, 67-46. Which would have been 3 games behind the network by the Dallas Oakland and the Chicago White Sox. Bernie Williams, who homered his last time up, was 1 for 3. The count is 1-1. Whiteside, the 4th Texas pitcher. Count is 2-1. Some great moments when Reggie played in here. This place was charged up.
World Series, 3 home runs against the Dodgers in '78. Reggie was made for New York.
Oh. Last one to dead center off Charlie Hough. Howard Cosell called him. Everybody did. Williams draws a base on balls, and that'll bring up Tony Fernandez, who all he has done is his debut with the Yankees. Single, double, scored 2 runs. It's kind of a seesaw affair here. Yankees over by Tartavel, make a 1-0 Texas ties at a 1-1, then 3 in the 3rd, 1 in the 4th by the Yankees, and they bust open to a 5-1 lead. And Texas 2 in the 6th to get in at a 5-3. The Yankees 2 in the bottom of the 6th to make it 7-3, but Texas with 3 in the top of the 7th. Well, we were conversing with Reggie, and it's a 7-6 ball game. So as much as you think, you've been lulled to think that the Yankees have had this game in hand all the way, it's really not the case. And they could use a couple more runs, even though they have Howe and Wetland in the bullpen.
I think you're going to see a few games like this in the early part of the season where both clubs go back and forth as the pitchers try to straighten things out. I heard Reggie Jackson talk about how the pitchers are going to be behind naturally because they haven't had the innings work that they're used to.
Little blooper, which, whoa, Reggie Gill fighting that all the way. Makes the play, and Fernandez and the Yankees are retired here in their 7th inning stretch inning. So we head to the 8th inning with the score here in New York. Yankees 7 and the Rangers 6 with the heart of the Rangers order. Top of the 8th inning here at Yankee Stadium, and a crowd of 50,000. I've seen a couple of Yankee home runs. Seen Jimmy Key lead with a big lead, but now it's only 7-6. And now Buck Showalter, Billy Connors and company go to formula. Starter to Bob Wickman, to Steve Howe, and then maybe in the 9th, John Wetland. But Steve Howe is on to pitch inning number 8, Buck.
See what he did last year in 40 games. Had a perfect 3-0 record with 15 saves, ERA under 2. Great compliment right here. You go to the left-hander in the 8th, at the big, powerful right-hander in the ninth in John Wetland. Steve Howe last year started bringing in a slow curveball. Gave him something a little more off speed. He's always been a hard fastball, hard slider type of pitcher. And now he gives the left-handed hitters like Clark something else to think about.
Now, Will Clark, who last time up had a 2-run single up the middle that was the last batter Jimmy Keith faced. To get Texas back in this thing, and it's stayed in it since. Took it from a 5-1 to a 5-3 ball game. So mixed results on Bob Wickman, by the way. I mean, he came in and got a double play ball right away, but allowed the 3 runs in the 7th inning. Will Clark, 1 for 3. Really thought that he would finish his career in San Francisco. I thought he would be one that would not have moved on, but like all clubs had to make dollars and cents decisions. Bonds, Williams, Clark, to pay them all. They couldn't pay them all.
Well, at that point, they had to decide between Clark and Robbie Thompson, and they opted to keep Robbie Thompson, who is back from a shoulder surgery and ready to go, anxious to get back to his 93 numbers. Giants trying to rebound a bit.
Strike 3. So Steve Howe freezes Will Clark. Good job opening up by Steve Howe.
Howe gets his fastball away from Clark, freezes him. He couldn't pull the trigger.
So 1 out here in the Texas 8th, and Mickey Tettleton up with Rodriguez on deck. If you're tuning in late, Juan Going Gonzalez is out for a couple of weeks. The normal cleanup hitter for the Rangers with the herniated disc problem. So we won't see his bat and potential 40 home run swing. Tettleton will normally be the number 5 hitter.
Evidently, they got a real positive report from the doctor. Gonzalez last made the visit this week. He was eligible to come off the list on the 1st of May, but I don't think they expect him back for a couple more weeks.
Tettleton rips it to left field for a base hit off Howe, and now the tying run is aboard. And Ivan Rodriguez comes to the plate.
Now Mickey Tettleton picks up his first base hit.
Rodriguez.
Let's put a ball in play to Gary Miller. I guess Gary elected to take that pitch, and we'll throw him another one in a minute. But Rodriguez skies it to Danny Tartabull, makes the play now. Let's groove one over the plate to Gary.
Chris, I see it coming. MCI proof positive takes us to Kauffman Stadium. Kevin Napier working on a no-hitter. Hit a batter, pinch runner. Damon Buford is going to get tagged out on Brady Anderson's looping fly to Gagne. 6 strikeouts, no hits. Matching him with Messina. Back to you.
There's a pitcher that's ready.
Ooh, they're going Napier in Kansas City, are they not? Well, I mean, the 2 games we've had on ESPN, 8-7 and now 7-6, but Napier. So Gary will keep us posted of that one, no doubt, as Dean Palmer looks at ball 1. Palmer hit my pitch to start the 7th inning. He scored. The first of Texas's 3 runs. Dino is 0 for 2 thus far. Steve Howe, the 3rd Yankee pitcher. He pitched into the 6th. Wickman get all 3 outs in the 6th. Gave up 3 in the 7th. Now Howe is on. And down in the bullpen, I can see the hard-throwing John Wetland warming up for perhaps his first appearance in Yankee pinstripes next inning. And there he is. Taking a bit of a breather, but we'll saw him firing hard. And they hope that he can do what Goose Gossage did back in the days of Reggie was here. Goose retiring just last week. What a great character, what a great player, one of the few who had over 300 saves. Goose and Reardon, two of the best relievers we've had, retire last week. Dean Palmer is aboard. And first Wickman and now Steve Howe getting themselves into a bit of a pickle. Looks like we'll have a pinch hitter for Rusty Greer, who has singled and doubled. The former Oakland A, Eric 20th Century Fox, has moved out into the on-deck circle and will hit now for Rusty Greer.
Well, the switch hitter Fox comes on. Bat from the right side. Last year he played 26 games for Oakland. Jerry Narron has several more options this year with Texas Rangers. Mark McLemore came on and got a pinch hit that drove in 2 to get the club back in the ball game, and now down by a run with 2 outs, he sends to the plate Eric Fox in a pinch hitting role.
Fox has hit for average at the AAA level. Hasn't hit much for average since he was playing for Tony La Russa. Has hit a couple of 300 seasons in Tacoma when he had 11 home runs. A good athlete, good fielder, and pinch runner Sean Hare, and you better be fast with the name Sean Hare, is the pinch runner for Tettleton at second base. So the wheels are moving here in the 8th inning at Yankee Stadium. There's Hare. Hare and Fox are involved here in the 8th inning for Texas. So sound the trumpet. We're on the Rabbits and the Foxes are running here for the Texas Rangers, who are aptly dressed in red. And one is in there for a strike. Tony La Russa really liked him. The way he played hard all the time. As we said, at the plate has yet to put together in the majors what we've seen at AAA. Giuseppe closely. He's a big pickup by Texas. I like the way he plays.
Well, they can do a lot of things because of his versatility. Both from the bat, play all the outfield positions. Got pretty good speed. You know, years past, the Rangers haven't had the kind of depth that they look to have this year.
Now there's 2-1 to Eric Fox. 2 on, 2 out, 1-run lead for the Yankees. And Howe just missed down and away. And the count is 3-1. Mark McLemore, who delivered a 2-run single in a pinch hitting role last inning, is the on-deck batter. Hare and Palmer on second and first take the lead. And Fox holds off, and the bases are full of Rangers. Hare and Fox and Palmer all aboard, and Mark McLemore will step up.
Defeating Mark McLemore.
McLemore batting left-handed when he came on as a pinch hitter, singled through the right side of the infield, so I don't think Showalter wants to flip him around and bring Wetland in right yet.
McLemore hits it to center field. Bernie Williams going back but has room, and McLemore flies out. Some anxious moments for Steve Howe and the Yankees, but they leave 3 Rangers aboard. They wriggle free and go to the bottom of the 8th with a 1-run lead. To have 3 singles and score a run. So Kelly, Boggs, and Leyritz here in a crowd of 50,000. They saw Danny Tartavel at a home run. You've seen Bernie Williams at a home run, but they've seen the scrappy Texas Rangers battle back. Jack McDowell, one of the new Yankees, obviously he'll pitch in game 2. We'll have to wait. That'll be a road game for them. We'll wait next turn or two to make his Yankee Stadium debut as a Yankee. Tony Fernandez is a nice debut as a Yankee. All in all, not a bad day at the Yard here in Wednesday afternoon, New York City. Whiteside, the fourth Texas pitcher, continues to work. Rogers started, was gone after 3, and Eric Fox will stay in right field. Batted for Greer, and he'll stay in right. Palmer in on the grass at third, just in case Kelly decides to dump one down. Remember, Kelly dumped one down the first base line, which neither the pitcher nor the first baseman Will Clark could handle last time. So Kelly, one of the Yankees with some wheels. And the count is 1-2. If you're looking at the Texas ninth, it'll be 9-1-2, just as the Yankees have now. Gill, Nixon, and Fry with Will Clark to hit fourth. So that's what we're looking at, and probably we're also looking at John Wetland. You'll note on Jerry Narron, and certainly we talk about great moments in Yankee history. This was not a great moment, but one of the most poignant ever in this stadium. The day after Thurman Munson on an off day, his plane crash, he was killed. On an off day Thursday, as Kelly is struck out. The Yankees were home the next night in an emotion-packed evening at Jerry Narron. First time Kelly's been retired today.
Whiteside's been very effective since coming on with 2 outs in the 6th inning. Good slider here, catches the outside corner. Look at Rodriguez frame it up for Bill Deegan. Kelly's not so sure about that.
Wade Boggs, 1 for 3 thus far tonight. This afternoon, I'm going to give you a programming update here. The very important America's Cup Defender Series race is already underway on ESPN2. We will show it to you underway when this game gets over. So it'll be on both networks. Boggs looks at a strike from Whiteside. The count is 2-1. Now the first wave of the year is going through the upper deck. That's what the crowd is doing, upper deck, and now it's spinning around now. Foul territory on the left field line. Did they forget how to do that too?
Yeah, they've been waiting a long time to do that. August 11th, the last game here at Yankee Stadium. It was an extra inning game. Blue Jays beat the Yankees 8-7. Everybody kind of felt, well, a couple of weeks, maybe 10, 15 days, we'll be back to playing again.
Wade Boggs with a 1 hit today. He's now 107 hits shy of the 2,500 mark. Has an RBI, a sac fly RBI as well. Pounds that went off. Had a great at bat in the 3rd inning. Started off 0-2 against Kenny Rogers. Worked with the 3-2 and also fouled off 5 pitches. Got a base hit, which at the time put 2 on with none out. Both Kelly and Boggs later came around to score in that inning as Rogers had some control problems, a couple of walks. Ooh, and Boggs thought the pitch was way inside. Didn't really give the full look to replacement umpire Bill Deegan. Whiteside got a big area of the strike zone, it appeared. Not a big pitch, huh?
Not a bad pitch at all. You're just not that used to seeing Wade Boggs called out by regular American League umpires.
That's right. That's exactly right.
Bill Deegan said, hey, that's my strike zone, and I'm sticking with it.
Here's Whiteside has come in with a couple of punch-outs. Tell you, at times he can look very good. I've seen him look good in games that we've done. You know, at other times he's really struggled.
I think Dick Cosman has already had an impact on Whiteside. He's made an adjustment in his slider grip, and it looks as though the Yankees are having a tough time picking up the spin on the ball. He's always had the stuff.
Here's a base hit for Jim Leyritz, his 2nd of the afternoon. Leyritz 2 for 5.
First hit off Whiteside. Now Jerry Narron quickly out of the Rangers dugout, and he's going to call for the left-hander. Pretty good outing for Matt Whiteside here. Darren Oliver, the left-hander, has been throwing down in the bullpen. I'm sure he'll come on here to face Paul O'Neill.
So here comes the 5th Ranger pitcher of the afternoon, 7-6. The Yankees lead it by 1. We'll be back.
Barry Miller back in the studio, and we are versatile here at Baseball. We're bringing you live action from Stars and Stripes, trying to get in to the America's Cup. That's Dennis Conner in the foreground of your screen there. They're racing against Mighty Mary. The race is underway. As soon as our action is over on the baseball front with our afternoon game, we'll take you there for what could be the decisive race in this series that Dennis Conner is to win. Also in progress at Kauffman Stadium, Kevin Appier is pitching. You're looking at him live against the Orioles. Through 6, he's yet to allow a hit. We're not sure how he'll go this early in the season. We'll keep you posted as we go back to Yankee Stadium.
All right, Gary, thank you. And then that's true. I mean, can you, with a no-hitter, but yet early in the season, do you go the 9? I mean, you got to. You say that, but...
Well, Bob Boone is faced with a tough decision his first day as a skipper in Kansas City.
Certainly don't. This is Darren Oliver. That's right. This is Darren Oliver, who left-hander, who they Rangers think very highly of, although you can see 35 walks in 50 innings. That's 50 Ks, 35 walks in 50 innings. You know he throws, by seeing nothing, you know he throws hard, and you know he throws wide.
He normally throws hard. He's coming back from a off-season surgery to take some chips out. Strength is not there quite yet. Control not there either. Great scouting report, Chris.
Yeah, well, I don't need to even see him. 50 and 35 and 50 innings. I got it.
Trying to hump up on the fastball. The ball tails in on O'Neill.
But what do you do if you're Bob Boone? Goes another inning and...
Basically, I think he'll probably leave it in Apier's hand to make sure that he's not going to hurt himself.
Every time I think of pinch hitting or taking out a pitcher with a no-hitter, I mean, old Preston Gomez comes to mind with Clay Kirby. 8-inning no-hitter, down by a run, got a pinch hit for it. But this is obviously a different situation. O'Neill fouls it back. Count is 1-2.
Pretty good velocity on the fastball there. Had O'Neill back in the hitting zone. But Oliver has some more. He gets a few innings under his belt, and that arm gets to 100%. He'll have a little more pop on the fastball.
Oh, boy. That was almost behind him. O'Neill might have done better going to the plate.
That's the slider. You can see Rodriguez is down away. Oliver has it slip out of his hand, and O'Neill has to bail out quickly. He's ducked out of the way in time. That'll give you a few more miles an hour on your fastball, too. Effectively wild.
O'Neill fouls it back. The count remains at 2-2.
Watch Paul O'Neill. He's got that timing mechanism with that front foot. I don't think you'd teach that, but it certainly works for O'Neill.
Not quite. That misses that. Not quite the Sadaharu old stride, but that sort of look. Speaking of Sadaharu, a couple players packed in the majors in this game today that we were playing in Japan last year. Mike Kairulo. Player of the Yankees and to Texas after spending a year in Japan. Beyond James this year. That ball, is it live? Well, it certainly looks like it as Leyritz goes all the way to third base. Wasn't sure whether it grazed O'Neill or not, but obviously it did not. That's a great heads-up play by Jim Leyritz, although Narin now will come out. I don't think he's questioning it. Everybody kind of just thought about ball four. Maybe it grazed him. A lot of room behind the plate, so the ball went all the way back, and Rodriguez just couldn't get on it.
Yeah, this ball just goes off Rodriguez's glove. You see, once again, Oliver struggling with his control. Goes off Pudge's glove all the way to the wall. And Leyritz, being a catcher himself, knows how far Rodriguez has to go to track it down. So he goes all the way from first to third. Heads up base running by Jim Leyritz.
So Darren Oliver certainly did not impress. I would say that's the understatement of the season thus far. We'll be back.
True positive takes us to Kansas City. Cal Ripken in game 2010 consecutive can't solve Kevin Appier. He struck out 3 times. Appier was 7 Ks in the game, but that's pitch 98. He leaves with a no-hit, no-run game and a 2-0 lead. Rusty Meacham just came in, a spectacular catch at the wall as they get through the 7th. Back to you, Chris.
All right, Gary. Well, Buck, there's the decision. I guess it's just no way you can go 9 at this point. I'm sure that Appier and Bob Boone are sick by that decision.
Yeah, I know that Bob Boone is obviously more concerned about the well-being of his pitcher than putting up a no-hitter opening day, so he's going to make the wise decision in my mind.
Roger McDowell now comes on, the 6th Texas pitcher, the well-traveled Roger McDowell, and he immediately gives up a base hit. The Yankees get a very important insurance run. So Danny Tartabull, who started this, what's now an 8-run barrage with a homer in the 2nd of about 469 feet, now has about a 140-foot single, and it does the exact same thing. Each drives in a run, and the Yankees have a 2-run lead.
3 driven in on the day for Tartabull. You see, he fights it off. Really didn't hammer it, but it's down where he can put it in play. Base hit to center field. Good opening day for Danny Tartabull.
So Tartabull gets a seat, and I believe it's Gerald Williams will go into pinch run for Danny Tartabull, who's driven in a run with a homer, a run with a base loaded walk, and a run with that single. And there's Gerald Williams. It's not exactly that he laid the lumber to McDowell's pitch, but the heads-up play by Leyritz allowed that run to score.
On ball 4, that wild pitch got away from Rodriguez, and Leyritz went all the way from first to third, and now comes in to score.
Mattingly is 0 for 4, the only Yankee regular who has not had a base hit today. Strike. I was set to call it inside. Mattingly was accepted to take the inside call, but umpire Bill Deegan saw it differently.
Roger McDowell has a lot of movement on his fastball, but Mattingly says it doesn't move that much. Pretty much says it all, doesn't it?
Yes, it does. Ball. Clark will handle it himself and will head to the 9th inning. And it looks like I assume we're going to see John Wetteland in his Yankee debut with a 2-run lead. Stick around. A crowd of over 50,000 and watching what they hope will be an opening day win by the Pinstripers. It hadn't been easy, but the Yankees have a 2-run lead, 8-6, and for his first appearance with the New York Yankees here at Yankee Stadium, the man they hope can save 30 to 35 games, John Teenage Wetteland.
25 saves last year for the Expos. This year he's been held back somewhat by back spasms suffered in spring training, but to a man, the Yankees are thrilled to have this guy coming out of the bullpen in the 9th inning. He has that Goose Gossage mentality. This game is mine, and I'll take care of it.
More strikeouts than innings pitched last year. Gerald Williams stays in the game and goes to left field. Paul O'Neill goes to his normal position of right field. And Tartabull now out of the game. But you talked with Wetteland a couple hours before the game, and how did he describe his appearance here?
I asked him how he felt here playing with the Yankees now and about coming into Yankee Stadium and making an appearance. He said yesterday during the workout, he said, you know, there's so many emotions about this great place. He said, I didn't step on the field. I just kind of hopped onto it. He said, I just don't know how to describe it. I'm a big baseball fan, and this really means a lot being able to play here in Yankee Stadium. As far as his teammates go, he said, hey, They like to work hard, and I love anybody that works hard at this game.
Well, we mentioned Pags. We get a mixed review here. They liked him here in New York. One of the more personable players, and last year played for the Seibu Lions, where he pulled 7 home runs. In Japan, where he's familiar number 13 for him. It's been lucky. Rulo, who a couple of years ago was a member of the 91 world champion Minnesota Twins. He's just a good, fun guy to be around. Glad to have him back over here playing ball. Oh, and he jacks it down the right field line, but it is just foul.
Now, when he came up with the Yankees, that's what they liked about him. He had that right field stroke.
Yes, this park was made for Pags. He pulled it right. He was a dead pull hitter like Nettles was. Didn't hit as many as Craig did, obviously, but Pags will foul that one. But there was the swing that for a couple of years they're really a dangerous short porch hitter. That was way up and back. A great shot here, guys. Look at this. Pretty surrealistic, if you ask me. Late afternoon shadows. Who knows what evil lurks in the back of Mike Pagliarulo? The shadow. Fastball hitter against fastball pitcher. Fists it to center field. Bernie Williams there. Oh, and he loses it in the sun and still makes the catch, albeit gingerly.
What a tremendous play by Bernie Williams, fighting that sun all the way, and watch how he stays with it. This is determination, trying to shade his eyes from the sun, looking right into the sun here, and look at the effort. Goes to his knees and makes a basket catch just before that ball hits the grass.
It was a John Stewart ball. He lost it in the sun, but still made the grab, and there is now 1 out. That'll bring the top of the order, Otis Nixon, who has 2 singles and a sacrifice today. Otis also with a pair of RBIs, 1 on the sacrifice, 1 on a ground out. Jeff Fry on deck. Will Clark would be 4th. By the way, after we are done, don't forget, brief visit with Gary Miller to get us updated on the no-hitter. Now the team combined no-hitter being pitched by the Royals. And then we'll go out to the America's Cup race. We'll pick that up live for you. 7:30, Coors Field. Be there, aloha. John and Joe watch the regular season debut of the Rockies' new ballpark as they host the Mets. 10:30 Eastern time tonight. The Astros at the Padres. 3 baseball game, America's Cup. I think we got you covered today. It's only Wednesday, you know. Not bad for a weekday, is it? Skied by Otis Nixon. Will Gerald Williams have room? No. The count is 0-2. John Wetland trying to get his first appearance, have it become the first save. Yankee fans will be seeing him lots this year, Buck.
When he gets up to speed, he can throw it 97 miles an hour with a great curveball. Right now, that fastball's been clocked at 92. So he's got a ways to go yet before he's 100%.
Gets Nixon to get it, just get a piece of it and stay alive. Stanley couldn't hold on. It was 93, we are informed.
Any club that has gone to the World Series and become a world champion has always had a closer, a dominant closer. Gossage, Grid, Eckersley, of course, Dwayne Ward for the Blue Jays.
Guys with the Reds that year, which the Yankees, of course, hope that maybe, and I can't say off day 1, Whitman and Howie struggled. And I would not compare them certainly in velocity to Charlton and Dibble and Myers. Wetland you could, but 3 guys lined up in the bullpen. That's kind of the blueprint that they hope will happen here. Nixon kind of chops us. It's going to be trouble with his speed. Stanley throws, just gets him. Boy, what a nice play by Mike Stanley behind the plate. He earlier threw out Otis Nixon trying to steal in this game, and this time he just tips him by a half step.
Very good play by Stanley. You know, it takes you a while to get going back there. When you call for a curveball, you're thinking about the ball being in the dirt. And then the swinging bunt in front of home plate. So he's got to come out of the chute. Everybody knows how quick Otis Nixon is. Stanley, with a strong arm, makes a very accurate throw to get Nixon by a full stride.
Now the fans on their feet. 1 out to go. Jeff Fry is up and looks at strike one from John Wetteland. Fry is 1 for 4 with a double in the 6th inning. Later scored a run. Remember America's Cup coming up right after. Now Buck Martinez, this has been a good start. It's been fun to see you. I hope the fans have enjoyed it. We've seen a little bit of everything in this ball game.
Boy, it's been great to have baseball back. Jimmy Key, pitcher of record right now. That would be 3 consecutive opening day wins for Jimmy Key if John Wetteland can rack it up. That would tie Mel Stottlemyre going back to the 74 season when the Astros pitching coach won 3 straight opening days. Key would move to 6-0 on opening day.
Mr. April. We had a visit from Mr. October. We had a visit from 50,000 fans and 14 runs, 24 hits. Ball 3 to Jeffrey. I remember Will Clark is on deck here. So this is not a situation that Buck Showalter and John Wetteland want to get to. A base runner for Clark to step up. Not that he has the power that perhaps he once did, but certainly the day the ball's traveling pretty well to the outfield, he could certainly go deep, or at least have an extra base hit. But that may be a moot point. Full count. Fans on their feet. People just told you what happened, and 50,000 people told you, welcome back to an old friend, Major League Baseball. The Yankees beat the Rangers 8-6 for Buck Martinez and all of us here at Yankee Stadium. I'm Chris Berman. Hello again. Now to Gary Miller.
All right, thanks a lot, Chris. A thrilling game to get us started. Remember, we've got a triple header, and we're about to take you out to San Diego, where the America's Cup is in progress. Dennis Conner trying to lock down the Defender Series and make it into the finals. He's going up against Mighty Mary. But the other big story going on this afternoon on the full opening day is in Kansas City. Kevin Napier left the game after 6 2/3. He's got a no-hitter. Now it's up to Rusty Meacham. If it's still a no-hitter in the 9th inning, when the Orioles come to bat, we'll take you back there live. But right now, it's time to go out to San Diego, where Dennis Conner is trying to lock down the America's Cup in Stars and Stripes. Let's go out to Jim Kelly.